Chapter 68. Lan Xiao's house was very close to Zhao Ying's. They were only separated by an alley. Her parents were craftsmen in the city, and they lived together. They were a little displeased by Lin Jin's sudden visit. After all, it was getting late. Moreover, they knew about the dream their daughter talked about, but they thought she was making a mountain out of a molehill. It was just a dream. Who wouldn't have nightmares about it? How would they take it seriously? Sigh, the child is still young and naive. Why are you two fooling around with her? Lan Xiao's father said as he opened the door. Lan Xiao was already shy to begin with. She lowered her head even more and clutched the corner of her shirt as if she had done something wrong. Zhao Ying was a little angry, but she didn't say a word. She comforted her like a big sister. Lin Jin smiled. It won't take long. Then, he pulled Lan Xiao's father aside and whispered a few words into his ear. The old man's attitude changed drastically as he saluted Lin Jin. I see. Do as you wish then. The child's mother and I will be in the other room. Just call us if you need anything. Having said that, he returned to his room cheerfully. Zhao Ying was dumbfounded. She was even more curious about what Lin Jin had said to Lan Xiao's father to make him change his attitude. After asking, Lin Jin answered, It's nothing. I just followed his train of thought. I told him that I thought it was just a dream and that I was just going through the motions. Everything would be fine after I untie the knot in your daughter's heart. This made him think that we were on the same side, so his attitude changed. Zhao Ying looked impressed as she mused that she had learned another trick. Meanwhile, Lan Xiao panicked. Appraiser Lin, that wasn't a dream. It was real. I know. Lin Jin's expression turned serious as he looked at Lan Xiao's room with a solemn expression. Something was clearly wrong with that room. Truth be told, Lin Jin had no idea what was wrong. He just had this feeling. He walked over and studied the room, but couldn't find anything wrong. Come, let's talk inside. Lin Jin led the way. This room was Lan Xiao's bedroom. Lin Jin looked around and reached out to touch the wall. Zhao Ying and Lan Xiao watched from the side, not daring to ask. Zhao Ying, bring Xiao back to your house for a night, Lin Jin said. Zhao Ying was stunned. Master Lin, what about you? Me. Lin Jin smiled and sat down on a chair. I'll make do here for the night. Lin Jin said nothing else. He really couldn't say it. The trouble Zhao Ying's bestie was in was far more serious than they had imagined. This wasn't Lin Jin's warning, but the Museum of Deadly Beasts warning. Of course, it was only a warning. It wasn't as if there was no solution. Moreover, Lin Jin wasn't a pushover. He had a way to deal with this. As for why he wanted help, firstly, Zhao Ying had spoken. Secondly, Lin Jin was doing this for his own sake. And that was to have the Museum of Deadly Beasts record its first monster. Truth be told, Lin Jin was rubbing his palms together in anticipation. Zhao Ying was beautiful and intelligent, so she didn't ask any more questions. She said a few words to Lan Xiao and left with her. Now, only Lin Jin and Xiao Hu were left in the house. After turning off the lights, Lin Jin sat on a chair and closed his eyes to rest while Xiao Hu stayed by his side. Time passed, and the night deepened. Most people were asleep by now. It was pitch black outside, but the moonlight was nice. There was a breeze, rustling the leaves on the trees. From the window, the shadows of the branches could be seen swaying. Inside the house, Lin Jin was sleeping soundly. With so many things to do today, he was exhausted. Just then, as if Xiao Hua heard something, his ears perked up and he bared his fangs. Outside the window, a black shadow suddenly appeared. It was like a snake. Xiao Hua immediately got up. Lin Jin opened his eyes as well. He was a light sleeper. He would wake up at the slightest movement. It's here. Lin Jin yawned. At the same time, the tightly shut door opened on its own and a large shadow peeked in. But instantly, the shadow seemed to have sensed something amiss and wanted to shrink back. Xiao Hua go. Lin Jin had been waiting for this moment for so long. He immediately ordered Xiao Hua to pounce forward. As for Lin Jin, he slowly got up, stretched his limbs, and walked out. In the yard, Xiao Hua was facing off against a large creature. That huge creature was a huge black snake as thick as a bucket. Black gas surged around its body, and the huge snake's head was upright. Its eyes were filled with confusion and anger. It looked different from the average beast. Xiaohua's aura wasn't weak. In fact, he could even overpower the creature. This made the black snake hesitate. A glint of intelligence flashed in its eyes as it opened its mouth and spat out a cloud of black mist before slithering out of the yard. With a sweep of Xiaohua's tail, a strong gust of wind blew and the black mist dispersed. Xiaohua immediately jumped out of the yard and gave chase. Lin Jin wasn't in a hurry. With Xiaohua around, he wasn't worried at all. Having a powerful pet beast gave him confidence. If he didn't have Xiaohua, or if Xiaohua wasn't a rank 3 pet beast, Lin Jin wouldn't have dared to get involved in this. He opened the door and closed it. Sensing their blood contract, he gave chase. After winding through many alleys, he arrived at a secluded area in Maple City. It was said that this place used to be an earth temple. Some time ago, it was destroyed by fire. Before it could be rebuilt, it had become a ruin. People rarely came here during the day, let alone at night. Sensing their blood contract, Xiaohua was here. Lin Jin sighed. If he had known this would happen, he would have brought Goldie here too. Having 2 rank 3 pet beasts would definitely be safer. However, it didn't matter. Xiaohua's strength had already reached an extremely terrifying level with the help of the Beast Energy Training Formula's first chapter and the Perfect Advancement. Before this, it was hard to find a worthy opponent. No one could force Xiaohua to go all out, except for Goldie who had evolved. Hence, Lin Jin wasn't worried. So what if it was a monster? As long as it couldn't surpass Xiaohua in rank, it would still have to kneel. The front hall of the dilapidated temple was in ruins. Entering it was no different from entering the Hall of Hell. The collapsed statue was pitch black and looked quite scary. Circling around it and entering the yard, Lin Jin could hear the sounds of fighting and the sparks on Xiaohua's body. Moving forward, Lin Jin saw Xiaohua, who had grown in size. Covered in flames, Xiaohua was entangled in a battle with a large black snake. They seemed to be in a stalemate. That black snake was quite impressive too. Not only was it covered in black energy, but it could also mobilize water spirit energy. Lin Jin was curious. Where did the water come from? Poking his head out, Lin Jin saw a well under a large tree. This one was obviously quite old. The water that the black serpent mobilized came from this well. Seeing that the black snake was evenly matched with Xiaohua, Lin Jin understood that this was the black snake's territory and it had the geographical advantage. He immediately invoked a spell to cast Berserk. Having a blood contract with a pet beast didn't just rely on the pet beast. Sometimes the pet beast would need the blessing of the blood contract owner as well. Just like now. After using Berserk, Xiaohua's body grew even bigger. His aura of brutality was now at least 20% stronger than before. With a swipe of his claws, flames surged, sharp and unstoppable. Chapter 69. Unable to evade, the black snake's body was immediately lacerated. It was an excruciating pain. Perhaps knowing that it was no match for the snake, after spitting out a puff of black water, it slithered away and slipped into the well, vanishing without a trace. Needless to say, the bottom of the well was where the black snake was hiding. Lin Jin called out to Xiaohua, who was still in pursuit. Lin Jin wasn't afraid of fighting on the surface, but things were different in the well. There was water in the well. Not only would Xiaohua be immobilized if he went down, he would also be suppressed. Lin Jin wouldn't let his pet beast take the risk. Of course, the black snake's strength had exceeded Lin Jin's expectations. Just then, Lin Jin noticed some snake scales scattered on the ground. He walked over and picked one up. Inside the Museum of Deadly Beasts, black energy surged and a corresponding specimen appeared. It was a gigantic black snake. Rank 2 monster, black water anaconda. Monster cannot form a blood pact. Possesses human-like intelligence. Status, heavily injured. Fire spirit burns body. Claw injury. Treatment method is, there are 3 evolution methods, namely, current recorded monster count. 1-4. Reading the information in the museum, Lin Jin was half happy and half worried. The only thing that made him happy was the reward for recording monsters. Once he recorded 4 monsters, the first reward would be unlocked. But there were even more things that made him unhappy. Firstly, this monster was able to go up against a rank 3 Xiao Hua at rank 2. This was cheating. Why? If this monster advanced to rank 3, wouldn't it be able to suppress Xiao Hua? Lin Jin immediately felt insecure. Also, why couldn't they form blood pacts? Monsters were so powerful. It would be great if they could form blood pacts with them. But what use would it be if they couldn't? Also, human-like intelligence. Didn't that mean all monsters were intelligent? Perhaps it was because they were too intelligent that they couldn't form blood pacts. Lin Jin recalled the black snake's gaze earlier. Indeed, it had revealed its thoughts. Just like before the big black snake entered the well, it had looked at him with a venomous gaze. "I'm not the one who hurt you. Why are you looking for me?" Lin Jin scolded. "I'm not the one who hurt you. Why are you looking for me?" Lin Jin scolded. In any case, he was in a bad mood. When he touched Lan Xiaoa, he only knew that she was tainted with some demonic aura. According to the Museum of Deadly Beasts, she was targeted by a demonic beast. Because of this, Lin Jin came to help. Not only did he fail to get rid of the monster, he even incurred a grudge. Therefore, other than the reward of recording demonic beasts, he didn't get any other benefits. He brought Xiao Hua to the mouth of the well to take a look. It was pitch black inside, and he could vaguely hear the sound of water. If it didn't go down, no one would know what was going on down there. Go down? Lin Jin would never go down there. Never in this lifetime. Who knew what was down there? What if it was a snake nest? This demonic beast is in a severely injured state right now. It won't come out anytime soon, so there's no need to be afraid of it for the time being. In a few days, when I get the second part of the beast energy training formula, I'll think of a way to increase Xiao Hua's strength. All right, I still have the Huang. In the future, I'll carry him wherever I go. Lin Jin felt that his analysis was thorough. Instantly, he felt safe again. He looked at the mouth of the well. Why don't I seal the mouth of the well to prevent this black snake from coming out and harming people again? He had Xiao Hua drag a boulder over to seal the mouth of the well. One wasn't enough, so he added a few more. Now, the mouth of the well was sealed tightly. Let's go. Lin Jin looked up at the sky before leaving with Xiao Hua. It was almost daybreak. Since he couldn't sleep even if he went back, Lin Jin decided to head back to the Beast Appraisal Association and take a short nap in the emergency hall. Early in the morning, Zhao Ying came running over. Lin Jin briefly explained the situation to her. When Zhao Ying heard that it was related to monsters, she immediately said, "If it's a monster, we have to report it to the City Lord Manor and have them slay it." Lin Jin thought about it. That was right. Even if he didn't dare to go down, he could get someone else to do it. Moreover, the City Lord Manor was full of experts. If they could eradicate the Black Snake, he would be able to get rid of this threat. He immediately ran off with Zhao Ying to report to the authorities. Maple City's authorities. Since it was an organization of authority, this place was naturally imposing. The two lion beasts guarding the entrance were huge and unusually intimidating. Lin Jin was speechless. In his previous world, there were only stone lions at the entrance. But here, they were all real. "Hold it right there. Who are you?" At the entrance, a guard stopped them and interrogated them. Lin Jin and Zhao Ying told him the reason. "Monsters?" The guard wore a doubtful expression, clearly in disbelief. However, when he saw the beast ring on Lin Jin's sleeve, he knew that he was an official beast appraiser, so he didn't dare to be rude. He led them inside and waited in a guest room. Soon, a man dressed like an officer entered. How could there be monsters in Maple City? That's utter nonsense. How could you believe something like that? The officer was still reprimanding his subordinate as he entered. Lin Jin shook his head at this. Another arrogant idiot. Although Lin Jin didn't hold much hope, he still had to say what he needed to say. Sure enough, the officer didn't believe Lin Jin. After a detailed interrogation, Lin Jin only said that he was helping out by coincidentally discovering traces of monsters, so he came to report it to the authorities. As for how he fought the monsters, Lin Jin wouldn't tell him. The officer sneered and glanced at Lin Jin. "You're Lin Jin of the Beast Appraisal Association, right? I've heard of you. All right, I know what happened. You can go back now." Zhao Ying said, "That monster has caused a lot of trouble. If you're going to hunt it down, You must be careful and bring enough men with you. It was meant as a friendly reminder, but the officer looked displeased. Do we need a little girl like you to teach us how to work as an official? Lin Jin smiled and saluted before dragging Zhao Ying away. Master Lin, Zhao Ying wanted to say more, but Lin Jin shook his head. They're prejudiced and they don't believe us at all. If we say too much, we'll just get into trouble. Since that's the case, let them be. Lin Jin couldn't be bothered with how the city lord manor would handle the situation. However, he thought of something. That monster, the Black Snake, wouldn't appear in Maple City for no reason, and it seemed to be familiar with the well in that rundown temple. Hence, Lin Jin asked about the Earth Temple. Zhao Ying knew a thing or two about it. She said that the Earth Temple had been around since she was born, and it had a history of more than 100 years. However, before it was burned down, there weren't many incense offerings, so people rarely visited the place. After it was burned down, even fewer people went there. Lin Jin asked when the Earth Temple was burned down. Just a few days ago. I think Xioi started having nightmares after the Earth Temple was burned down. Right, Master Lin. Do you think these two incidents are related? Zhao Ying was good at making connections. Lin Jin waved his hand. It was possible, but he didn't know the specifics. In any case, he would just record the monsters in the future. It didn't matter if they didn't because monsters were too terrifying. Also, if that Black Snake didn't come looking for him, Lin Jin had made up his mind to kill it. Otherwise, if he kept this menace around, something bad would happen sooner or later. Chapter 70. Due to the matter with the authorities, Lin Jin was delayed for quite some time. By the time he returned to the Beast Appraisal Association, it was already noon. Let's head back to the emergency hall first. However, just as he reached the entrance and Zhao Ying successfully entered, Lin Jin was stopped. Lin Jin was a little stunned, but the guards refused to let him in, saying that it was Chief Wang Ji's order. This is too much. Lin Jin's expression darkened. It was one thing for Wang Ji to pick on him, and Lin Jin couldn't be bothered to deal with him, but for the man to forbid him from entering the association, that was too much. Just then, Wang Ji walked out with Jia Qian, Zhang He, and the others following behind him. Lin Jin, headquarters has revoked your qualifications as an official beast appraiser. Now, please hand over the beast emblem on your sleeve. You're not allowed to step foot into the Beast Appraisal Association ever again because you're not qualified. Wang Ji was extremely pleased with himself. His plan to kick Lin Jin out was finally done, and it was 2 days earlier than he expected. Truth be told, he was shocked when he received the news today. The order to revoke Lin Jin's qualifications was issued by an inspector from headquarters. Inspectors from headquarters had the right to do so. Moreover, Wang Ji didn't expect this inspector to arrive at Maple City 2 days in advance. He just didn't know what had happened to anger this inspector to the point of reporting to headquarters and issuing such an order. No matter what the situation was, as long as it was beneficial to his side, it was fine. It could be said that Lin Jin had been sentenced to death, and there was no way he could make a comeback. Of course, Lin Jin was shocked. He suddenly recalled that strange woman from last night. Before she left, she seemed to have mentioned that his qualifications as a beast appraiser had been revoked. Back then, he thought it was just a joke. Who knew that it would really be revoked? Taking a deep breath, Lin Jin forced himself to calm down. Now that things had come to this, there was no point in arguing. His plans would definitely be ruined. He had planned to take the advancement exam, but now that his qualifications as a beast appraiser had been revoked, he couldn't take the exam anymore. But so what? Since my qualifications as an official beast appraiser have been revoked, I'll take the exam again. Not only that, but I'll also take the advancement exam. This sounded like a fantasy, but to Lin Jin, who owned the Museum of Deadly Beasts, nothing was impossible. What right do you have to revoke Master Lin's qualifications? At this moment, an angry voice rang out. It was Zhao Ying. At this moment, she was like an enraged lion, her face flushed with anger. Based on the decision made by the inspectors sent by the headquarters, Zhang He could not help but say. He had been beaten up by Dong He yesterday, and his face was still swollen. Lin Jin couldn't be bothered with Zhang He, but he couldn't ignore Zhao Ying. He wanted to pull her back, but Zhao Ying stubbornly continued to shout. As an apprentice, I can vouch for Master Lin. As an official beast appraiser, be it his skills or character, he is impeccable. I request for a review. If Master Lin is truly incompetent, I am willing to bear all the consequences. Me too. Lu Xiaoyun and Han Dong also hurried over. I, Lu Xiaoyun, am willing to vouch for Master Lin. I, Han Dong, am willing to vouch for Master Lin. The three of them stepped forward, bowed their heads, and pleaded. Lin Jin gulped. He was slightly moved. You think you're worthy? Wang Ji scoffed. You're just 3 apprentices, not even official beast appraisers. Why do you have to vouch for him? What do you have to vouch for him? I'm warning you not to mess around. This is the headquarters decision. If you don't want to work in the association, you can leave together. I won't stop you. Leave then. Lu Xiaoyun was the first to erupt in anger. But before she could finish, Lin Jin quickly came over and covered her mouth. Sob, sob, sob. Lu Xiaoyun bared her fangs and claws, but the rest of her words were all muffled. Enough, you 3. Lin Jin reprimanded with a straight face. Master Lin, I, Han Dong, have been greatly indebted to you. Now that my mentor is being humiliated, how can I remain indifferent? I swear to advance together with my mentor. Shut up. Lin Jin glared. He was truly enraged. Han Dong immediately shut his mouth in fear, but he couldn't stop his tears from flowing. Han Dong, the big boy who was always smiling, was actually crying at this moment. Not only him, but Zhao Ying and Lu Xiaoyun's eyes were moist as well. At the association's main entrance, Lin Jin was stopped in front of everyone. Then, Wang Ji purposely revealed this incident in front of everyone to humiliate Lin Jin. Couldn't he have called Lin Jin aside to discuss this in private? It was obvious that this was all meticulously planned. After receiving headquarters' decision, Wang Ji had started plotting it. The 3 of them obviously couldn't tolerate Lin Jin being humiliated. After spending days together, they had shared weal and woe. Moreover, they were young and hot-blooded, so it was only natural for them to react in such a manner. This was human nature. If Lin Jin was an average person, he would probably lose his mind from anger. He would either cause a scene and embarrass himself, or he would faint from anger and become a laughingstock. But Lin Jin wasn't an average person. He patted Han Dong's shoulder, patted Lu Xiaoyun's head, and wiped away the tears on Zhao Ying's face. I understand your intentions. If you still respect me as your master, then listen to my orders. Don't say too much and stay in the association. Study your skills and increase your knowledge. Leave the rest to me. At the trio's nod, Lin Jin turned to Wang Ji. Of course I can't defy headquarters orders. Chief Wang, let me ask you. Headquarters has only revoked my qualifications as an official beast appraiser. That's all, right? Lin Jin asked. Wang Ji laughed. Lin Jin, isn't that enough? All right. If you want to hear it, I'll say it again. That's right. Headquarters has only issued an order to revoke your qualifications as an official beast appraiser. Do you understand now? Lin Jin nodded. That's good. So, I'll be registering for the beast appraiser's exams the day after tomorrow. Chief Wang Ji, see you then. Having said that, he flicked his sleeve and left. The crowd was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. Has Lin Jin lost his mind? Does he think he can still pass? What a joke. Does he really think he has the qualifications to be an official beast appraiser? The inspectors from headquarters aren't blind. If they didn't prove that Lin Jin doesn't live up to his name, why would they revoke his qualifications? He's just asking to be humiliated. Wang Ji laughed as he shook his head. I can't wait for you to take the exam. But your actions are questioning the decision of headquarters inspectors. They're still in Maple City. If they find out about this, forget about you failing the exam. Even if you do, you won't be able to pass. Wang Ji would ensure that the inspector found out about this. Moreover, he knew that this inspector dispatched by headquarters had an extraordinary status. If he were to anger him, Lin Jin wouldn't be able to make a comeback, even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms. Inside the Beast Appraisal Association, Tan Lin listened to Wang Ji's report. When she recalled what happened last night, her expression darkened and the anger within her flared up again. He's still not convinced? Not only is this person shameless and lowly, but he's also overestimating himself. She gritted her teeth as she thought about it. However, she managed to keep her composure on the surface. She said calmly, if he wants to take the exam, let him take it. Headquarters didn't deprive him of the right to take the exam again. Despite her words, Tan Lin's expression made it clear that she was furious. This was exactly what Wang Ji wanted. He said, "It's my fault for not being strict enough to have such a scum in the association." Right. Has Elder Tan come out yet? His attitude was surprisingly respectful. Elder Tan was the rank 3 beast appraiser invited by the city lord manor. Tan's son held a high position in headquarters and was also the father of Inspector Tan Lin. Tan Lin shook her head. Father is still in the geocentric fire vein, discussing with Elder Amo and Elder Du about strengthening the seal. It might take some time, so I'll stay here and wait for him to come out. Chapter 71. 2 days passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was exam day. On this day, beast appraisal associations across the country would hold a unified beast appraisers exam as required. On the same day, the official beast appraisers promotion exam would be held. It could be said that today was an important day in the beast appraisers community. The sapphire turtle was no longer in the yard. Zukin had come to retrieve the pet beast yesterday. The poison in the turtle's body had been removed, and Zukan's family's problems were almost resolved as well. Zukin was furious after hearing about Lin Jin's ordeal. He even said that he would bring the sapphire turtle to the Beast Appraisal Association to cheer for Lin Jin. After packing up, Lin Jin prepared to leave. As he was afraid that the monster, the black snake, would seek revenge, Lin Jin had been sleeping under the bed for the past 2 days. Besides letting Xiao sleep under the bed, he also forced Goldie to stay at the head of the bed. Even when he went out, Lin Jin would bring Goldie along. Hence, with a fire wolf and a large rooster trailing behind him, Lin Jin stood out like a sore thumb. The entrance of the Beast Appraisal Association was currently packed with people. Every year, many people would take the Beast Appraisers exam. Of course, only a handful managed to pass. However, those who failed the exam still had the opportunity to apply to become an apprentice beast appraiser. As an apprentice, they could stay in the association to further their studies and take the exam after they had improved. Hence, most of the examinees were apprentice beast appraisers. Someone immediately recognized Lin Jin when he arrived. Lin Jin? Is he really here? This man's skin is as thick as a city wall. Lin Jin pretended not to hear their mockery. He went to retrieve his exam pass and waited to take the exam. Just then, Zhao Ying, Lu Xiaoyun, and Han Dong arrived. Master Lin, the 3 of them bowed. Master Lin will definitely pass the Beast Appraiser's exam again. Zhao Ying looked confident. Lu Xiaoyun and Han Dong shared the same expression. Why didn't you guys take the exam? Lin Jin asked. The 3 of them exchanged glances. It's disrespectful to take the exam with your master. Moreover, the 3 of us are deeply aware that beast appraisals are as deep as the ocean and we wish to improve ourselves. If we take the exam, we must be confident. Otherwise, we would only embarrass you if we rely on luck. Lin Ji nodded. It's about to begin. Master Lin, you can go in first. The 3 of us will wait for your good news outside, Han Dong said. All right, I'll be going first then. Before Lin Jin could finish, Zhang He and a few others came over angrily. Wait, Lin Jin, I'm afraid you won't be able to enter because you're not qualified to take the exam. Zhang, he was very proud of himself. Beside him was Dong He. Although the 2 of them had fought earlier, with Wang Ji and Nan Gongxin's mediation, they managed to resolve their conflict. They had even secretly plotted to deal with Lin Jin together. Lin Jin wanted to take the exam and make a comeback, not even a door. Both of them hated Lin Jin to the core. Even if there was a sliver of hope for Lin Jin to make a comeback, they would crush it. Coincidentally, they really did find an excuse. The people Wang Ji sent to Everlasting Town found Wei Changyong. Everlasting Town's Earth Beast Appraiser, Wei Changyong, had once planned to use Lin Jin as a stepping stone to climb up the ranks. In the end, he went for wool and came home shorn. He even lost Goldie. However, Wei Changyong had no choice but to admit that he was unlucky. Wang Ji's men went to investigate Lin Jin's previous evaluation in Everlasting Town, hoping to find something to use against Lin Jin. In the end, they found Wei Changyong. After clarifying the situation, both parties hit it off immediately. Especially after Wang Ji found out that Lin Jin did have a large rooster by his side, he secretly arranged for someone to bring Wei Changyong to Maple City, planning to deal Lin Jin a final blow at this crucial moment. He wanted Lin Jin to fail the exam. Initially, Wang Ji didn't plan on killing Lin Jin. Moreover, he didn't have any deep grudges against Lin Jin. However, the abilities Lin Jin had displayed over the past few days made him feel a little fearful. Someone even started hanging up Lin Jin's plaque. Also, the signboard that the shipwright sent over wasn't a random act. It wasn't something Lin Jin paid someone to direct and act on his own. What concerned Wang Ji the most was the evaluation report Lin Jin wrote for the batch of mutant eggs. That night, at the City Lord Manor's banquet, Tan Sun, the rank 3 beast appraiser from headquarters, praised Wang Ji greatly because of his evaluation report. No one knew how shocked Wang Ji was at that time, because he was the only one who knew that his evaluation report was a complete copy of Lin Jin's. At first, Wang Ji thought that he didn't want to make any mistakes, but this was the result. While he was happy, he was also a little afraid. No matter how stupid he was, he knew that Lin Jin wasn't as simple as he seemed. There must be something special about Lin Jin when it came to beast appraising. Before this, he wouldn't have cared. But now, he was already suppressing Lin Jin. Moreover, he had purposely given Lin Jin the lowest marks in several consecutive evaluations. Imagine if Lin Jin suddenly rose to prominence. How could he continue to be chief? Hence, even if it was for his own sake, Wang Ji had to suppress Lin Jin completely. Only then could he stabilize his position as chief. His future wouldn't be affected by the stain of suppressing his subordinates. Zhang he pointed at Wei Changyong, whom he had brought along, and smirked at Lin Jin. Lin Jin, do you still recognize him? Wei Changyong took a step forward with a menacing grin. Lin Jin glanced at him and shook his head. No, I don't. It wasn't that Lin Jin had a bad memory. Back in Everlasting Town, he had only glanced at Wei Changyong once. Most of the time, he had his head lowered as he wrote his evaluation reports. How could he have the time to look at someone? It was just a casual glance. How could he possibly remember him? Wei Changyong was furious. You don't remember me? I remember you. You were the one who swindled my rare beast away in Everlasting Town. It was that rooster next to you. He pointed. Everyone looked over. Indeed, there was a mighty rooster next to Lin Jin. I know you won't admit to it, but I have witnesses. The people around me are all from Everlasting Town. They can testify for me. Wei Changyong had clearly come prepared. The people around him nodded as well, speaking up to testify for him. Now, Lin Jin had become everyone's target. As a beast appraiser, swindling rare beasts was a huge taboo. Not only was it a problem of character, but it was also a violation of the law. A person like this indeed had no right to participate in the examination. Zhao Ying's expression darkened. She knew the inside story. That rooster next to Lin Jin really did belong to Wei Changyong. However, Lin Jin hadn't swindled her. The rooster had followed him here of its own accord. She was about to speak up when Lin Jin shook his head at her. Zhao Ying hurriedly swallowed her words of explanation. Lin Jin smiled. When I went to Everlasting Town to appraise beasts, there were too many people there, so I didn't remember you. But now that you mention it, I do remember someone asking me to appraise a regular rooster. He even said how dangerous that rooster was, like a bloodthirsty beast. Was that you? Lin Jin chuckled. Lin Jin nodded. That's right, it was me. Wei Changyong nodded. You finally admitted it. Lin Jin shook his head. Admit what? You swindled my rooster. Wei Changyong said. Lin Jin smiled again. I appraised a beast in public with so many people watching. May I ask, how did I swindle your rooster? Of course you tamed it secretly and took it away. Wei Changyong already had a plan in mind. This was also the result of his discussion with Wang Ji. Lin Ji nodded. Beast appraisers only use 3 methods to tame beasts: amulets, spirit seals, and beast-taming pills. All 3 methods are traceable. Everyone here is an expert, so let's examine it directly. Otherwise, you'll accuse me of lying if I say I didn't swindle your rooster. Having said that, he turned to Goldie and said, "Go, let them have a look." As a rank 3 pet beast, Goldie was extremely intelligent. He could actually understand Lin Jin's words. Despite looking dissatisfied, he still walked over. Wei Changyong had a trauma from this chicken. Seeing Goldie approaching, he quickly backed away in fear. Zhang He silently cursed him for being useless. He quickly went over to examine the rooster. Lu Xiaoyan suddenly said, "I want to take part in the examination too in case they tampered with it." "I'll go too." Another apprentice stepped forward. With this, it would be impossible for anyone to tamper or speak carelessly. Chapter 72. Beast taming was a profound skill that not everyone could master. However, it was easy to detect signs of taming. This was the basics. Even Wei Changyong knew a little about it. Wei Changyong was confident that the man must have used some tricks. Otherwise, that ferocious rooster wouldn't have been taken away by him. Whether it was talismans, spirit seals, or beast-taming pills, they were all traceable. As long as he could find them, he would be able to prove that the man was a scammer. He was very confident. But soon, Zhang He's expression darkened. He couldn't find any traces of talismans, spirit seals, or beast-taming pills. This, Zhang He panicked. If he was the only one doing the appraisal, he could still lie. But now that so many people were here, he couldn't lie anymore. "Are there any signs of it being tamed?" Lin Jin asked. Zhang He's expression changed, but he could only answer honestly. "No, that's impossible." Wei Changyong panicked. He thought it was a foolproof plan, so there couldn't be any problems. Lin Jin couldn't be bothered to answer. Wei Changyong and the others had no idea that Lin Jin was using beast deterrence. It wasn't one of the 3 beast taming methods, but something more advanced. And so, Wei Changyong's card was played for nothing. Anyone with a brain would never believe this accusation. After all, similar chickens could be found everywhere. At this moment, one of the people that Wei Changyong had brought said, "This doesn't seem to be the same one. This one's fur color is brighter and it's bigger. Also, the yellow pattern on its comb is gone. It's only been a few days. If it was the same one, it wouldn't have changed so much." The person who spoke was obviously straightforward. Most villagers were like this. Moreover, Wei Changyong had invited them here to testify for him. He hadn't colluded with them beforehand. It was also Wei Changyong who was certain that the rooster beside Lin Jin was his. In the end, he was stabbed at a crucial moment by his own people, crippling his own cultivation. Wei Changyong almost fainted from anger. Needless to say, everyone could tell what was going on. This person came to scam people without even understanding the situation. What a joke. Yeah, no matter how useless Lin Jin is, he wouldn't lie about his pet beast. Plus, there's no way he could have done it. Lin Jin flicked his sleeve. "The exam is starting soon. I'm not going to play around with you guys anymore." "I think you're the one who's messing around," a voice said. Turning around, he saw that Wang Ji had arrived. Not only Wang Ji, but there were also a few others. A group of people walked over aggressively. It's President Wang Ji, Elderman Gongxian as well. These two were the big shots of the association. I can't believe they showed up at the same time. The woman beside President Wang Ji is so beautiful. Who is she? Everyone discussed among themselves and made way for him. Wang Ji walked up to Lin Jin. Wang Ji had also seen the situation just now. Knowing that Wei Changyong's move was useless, he personally stepped in. In any case, he wasn't planning on letting Lin Jin take the exam today. Even if he had to resort to some despicable means, he wouldn't mind. After all, Lin Jin was alone and had no one to help him. On the other hand, there were quite a few people on his side who wanted to trample on Lin Jin. Lin Jin frowned at the sight of Wang Ji. Moreover, there was also Nin Gongxian. There was also a girl who looked very familiar. "It's you." Lin Jin remembered now. Wasn't this the woman he met at the emergency hall a few days ago? Back then, he thought she was Zhao Ying's friend, so he decided to treat her. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. However, even if it was a misunderstanding, this woman's reaction was too overbearing. Now, it seemed like this woman had to be someone important. Otherwise, people like Wang Ji and Nan Gongxian wouldn't be crowding around her. Could she be an inspector sent by headquarters? Only an inspector sent by headquarters had the authority to revoke his qualifications as a beast appraiser. Lin Jin, this is the inspector sent by headquarters, appraiser Tan Lin. She has verified your previous appraisal accident, and as an official beast appraiser, you will bear full responsibility for it. After a discussion with Elder Nan, appraiser Tan Lin, and we feel that someone like you is no longer suitable to be a beast appraiser. Hence, we've decided to revoke your qualifications to participate in the beast appraiser's exam, and you'll never be hired again. Wang Ji said seriously with a straight face. At the same time, he pointed out Tan Lin's identity. He also said something that shocked everyone present. To put it simply, Lin Jin was blacklisted and stripped of his qualifications to take the exam. This is ruthless. Lin Jin is done for. Chief Wang and the others must have just made their decision. Look, the victim of the appraisal accident is here too. Sure enough, a young man was glaring at Lin Jin from the crowd. Behind him was a wolf beast with its head hanging low. It was as thin as a match, covered in wounds, and looked dispirited. This wolf beast is the one Lin Jin said was an upper-grade pet beast. It doesn't look like much, but Lin Jin appraised the wrong pet beast and even forced the victim to form a blood contract on the spot. It's definitely an accident. But this punishment is a little too severe. Blacklisted. His future is ruined. As the crowd discussed, Wang Ji had the young man step forward. Lin Jin, don't say that we're targeting you. Look, this young man had a bright future ahead of him, but because of you, he formed a blood contract with a flawed pet beast. Even if he were to cancel the blood contract, it would take a long time before he could form a blood contract with another pet beast. He's going to take the Friar Association's entrance exam this year. Without a pet beast, how could he take the exam? If he misses a year, he'll have to wait another year. For this reason alone, are you willing to be blacklisted? Lin Jin glanced at the young man and the pet beast beside him before walking over. Ignoring the young man, he reached out to touch the wolf beast's head. Due to the fact that this wolf beast was a flawed pet beast, the young man didn't like it. He probably wasn't given good food either, so it was starving to this extent. As for the wounds on its body, it must have been abused. After touching it, the Museum of Deadly Beasts immediately recorded it. The specimen and the stone tablet's attributes appeared. Lin Jin scanned through the results on the stone tablet, and his eyes lit up. Truth be told, Lin Jin had nothing to say about his predecessor's appraisal mistake. After all, an accident was an accident. No amount of excuses would be enough. However, if he had the Museum of Deadly Beasts, there might be a way to fix this wolf beast's flaws. But now, not only was there a way, this wolf beast wasn't as simple as it seemed. Rank 1 wolf beast in a blood contract state. Shadow wolf. Dual attributes of wind and wood. Hidden bloodline, nether. Flawed bones and veins. There are 11 ways to fix it. There are 7 ways to evolve it. There are 3 ways to activate its bloodline. Lin Jin read through the descriptions one by one. He had to admit that this wolf beast was quite rare. Even among all the rare beasts he had encountered in the past few days, it could be considered one of the top few. Now, Lin Jin had a plan. Chapter 73. Just then, the young man cried out in grief. Appraiser Lin, you've really done me a disservice. Back then, I came to ask for your opinion because I thought you were a trustworthy beast appraiser. But who knew? Taking a deep breath, he continued, back then I wasn't sure if I should buy this pet beast. After all, the seller was asking for a very high price. I was born into a poor family, so in order to buy this pet beast, my parents had to sell their ancestral home before they could gather enough money. If you had told me that this pet beast wasn't worth forming a blood pact with, I definitely wouldn't have sold my entire fortune to buy it. Now, my parents have lost all their savings, and they said that I could take the exam again next year. But now, my parents are penniless, so how could they possibly take the exam again? You've ruined my family, ruined my entire life. At this, everyone looked at him sympathetically. That was right. It was indeed difficult for a commoner to embark on the path of a cultivator. Lin Jin had invested his entire family's fortune and pinned all of his hopes on him. This was their trust in him. But in the end, the pet beast they recommended was such a piece of trash. Lin Jin had indeed ruined his entire family and ruined his entire life. Even if this young man wanted to form a new blood pact with a pet beast, how could he afford it? Wang Ji said with a pained expression, "Everyone, do you now understand why Elder Nan, appraiser Tan Lin, and I made this decision? Lin Jin has gone too far. Banning him is a responsibility to Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association and everyone else. We don't want Lin Jin to commit any more mishaps." At this, everyone nodded in agreement. "Who said it was a mishap?" Lin Jin got up. Having said that, he turned to the furious young man and said, "You're a man who bites the hand that feeds you. I was kind enough to help you find such a precious pet beast, but not only are you not grateful, you're even trying to backstab me. What nonsense are you spouting?" The young man was enraged. Wang Ji's expression darkened as well. "Lin Jin, you're still quibbling and spouting nonsense at a time like this." Lin Jin didn't back down. Instead, he turned to Wang Ji and said, "Whether I'm quibbling or not, we'll know soon enough." Having said that, he turned to the young man again. "Do you still remember what I told you that day? Even if you've forgotten about it, the beast evaluation report that I wrote for you should have written it very clearly and clearly. I told you that this wolf is a premium pet beast and that you should form a blood pact with it immediately so that you can raise it properly. I also told you to come back within 7 days. Am I right?" The young man was stunned before nodding. "That's right. But after that, I met Chief Wang Ji and he personally appraised it for me. Only then did I find out that this pet beast was flawed." Wang Ji said angrily. Wang said, Lin Jin, Wang, what are you trying to say?" Lin Jin raised his voice. "That day, when I appraised this man's pet beast, I made it clear that it's an upper-grade pet beast, and the most important thing is for him to come back within 7 days. Let me ask you, why didn't you come?" The young man said angrily, "I was tricked by you once. How can I be tricked by you again? I lied to you?" Lin Jin was enraged. He raised his hand, condensed a spirit seal, and slapped it on the young man's wolf beast's head. The next instant, an invisible wave of energy gushed out. Everyone's clothes fluttered in the wind as they stared in shock. Although the wolf beast was still thin and weak, it now exuded a domineering aura and a sharp gaze. Compared to before, it was like a completely different wolf. What was most unbelievable was that this wolf beast's silhouette flickered in and out of existence. One look, and anyone could tell that it was extraordinary. A rare beast. Those with discerning eyes could immediately tell at a glance that only rare beasts would have all sorts of special abilities. This time, everyone was shocked. The young man was dumbfounded. He pointed at the wolf beast, speechless. Wang Ji's heart was pounding. His mouth was wide open, more than enough to stuff a bun into his mouth. Nan Gongxian frowned. Tan Lin's pupils dilated. None of them had expected such a scene to unfold. Now, it was Lin Jin's turn to look indignant. "I lied to you? This pet beast has a rare shadow wolf bloodline. Isn't it wrong to call it an upper-class pet beast? Back then, I saw how poor your family was, so I didn't dare to write down the pet beast's bloodline for fear that someone bad might find out and harm you. Let me ask you, have I, Lin Jin, done anything wrong?" The young man paled. He stared at the wolf beast with a completely different aura, speechless. Lin Jin's voice grew louder. "I told you to come find me in 7 days so that you can bond with your pet beast. At the same time, you can slowly nourish it with meat. When the time comes, I can use a secret technique to activate its hidden bloodline. But what about you? Did you come find me?" Sweat began to form on the young man's forehead. "You didn't." Lin Jin let out a long sigh. Lin Jin, have always done things with a clear conscience. Yet, I didn't know that I was being schemed against by a despicable person who twisted the truth and made it sound like an appraisal accident. Even so, I didn't refute him. I only hoped that this matter would be resolved as soon as possible, and I was still waiting for you to come find me. You're finally here today. But to think that I, Lin Jin, would receive a boycott order instead. This shadow wolf is such a rare beast, yet you treated it like this. You probably haven't fed it anything for the past few days. Not only did you treat it coldly, you even abused it. Pet beasts are sentient too. Even if you have a blood contract with it, the way you've treated it, it might turn on you, break free from the blood contract, and leave you. Perhaps in response to Lin Jin's words, after activating its bloodline, the shadow wolf howled at the sky. In an instant, a mist of blood erupted from its body. It was as if something had just snapped. It broke its blood contract and broke free from its restraints. This shadow wolf is willing to harm itself just to break free from the blood contract. It was rare for a pet beast to break a blood contract. It would only succeed when the pet beast was strong, but the blood contract was unstable. Of course, from another perspective, it was also when the owner was too weak or abused the pet beast. Only then would it happen. Who knew it would happen in front of everyone today? That young man retreated a few steps in shock. He seemed to have understood something and immediately walked towards the dark shadow wolf. However, the dark shadow wolf growled and looked like it was about to attack. The young man didn't dare to step forward. He could only kneel before Lin Jin. Appraiser Lin, I was wrong. I was wrong. Please think of a way for me to form a blood contract with it again. Everyone looked at him in disdain. Who was the one who ignored their pet beast? Who was the one who tortured it and refused to feed it? Now that they saw that not only was the pet beast not a worthless piece of trash, but a rare beast with a rare bloodline, their attitude changed immediately. You want to redeem yourself? Face. Doesn't it hurt? That's impossible. Wang Ji snapped out of his daze. He immediately cast a spell and activated his spiritual eye to carefully appraise the shadow wolf. However, the result of this appraisal made him suck in a breath of cold air. Just as Lin Jin had said, it wasn't an exaggeration to call this wolf an upper-class creature. There could only be one possibility, and that was that this wolf beast bloodline was well hidden and Wang Ji hadn't been able to appraise it back then. But how did Lin Jin see through it? Also, what was that spirit seal earlier? Wang Ji couldn't understand it either. This spirit seal could instantly activate the wolf beast bloodline. Chapter 74. Nin Gongxian remained silent. He hadn't participated in the evaluation of Lin Jin's appraisal accident and had only heard about it. Now, it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Based on the current situation, it couldn't even be considered an appraisal accident. Nin Gongxian glanced at Wang Ji in dissatisfaction. How could he mistake an accident? What the hell was this Wang Ji doing? Tan Lin came forward with a frown, clearly intending to reevaluate the shadow wolf. The wolf growled. Lin Jin patted its head, and it immediately quieted down. Tan Lin was shocked, but she didn't let it show on her face. She used a seal to appraise the wolf. At first, she was hoping for a fluke, but after the evaluation, her expression darkened. She bit her lip and said nothing. What else could she say? As an inspector sent by headquarters, she had just verified Lin Jin's appraisal accident and determined his responsibility. But in the blink of an eye, reality had given her a resounding slap. The result of her verification was completely wrong. Clearly, this couldn't be considered an appraisal accident, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. What she meant was to turn this incident into a small one. But to her surprise, Lin Jin didn't let her have her way and asked directly, Appraiser Tan Lin, may I ask if this appraisal accident is justified? Tan Lin was obviously embarrassed to be questioned, but she could only say, based on the current situation, it's not justified. Wang Ji panicked. Not justified? If it wasn't justified, what excuse could she use to blacklist Lin Jin? He immediately said, Appraiser Tan Lin, I think we need to investigate this. I said it's not justified. Tan Lin said through gritted teeth. Although she hated Lin Jin, her pride wouldn't allow her to point fingers and spout nonsense in front of him. But Wang Ji wanted to stop her. No buts. A mistake is a mistake. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Since Tan Lin said so, Wang Ji couldn't say anything else. He could only glare at Lin Jin as he calculated. Lin Jin asked again, since it's not justified, may I go in for the exam? In fact, the exam had already started and half the time had passed. Tan Lin didn't make things difficult for him this time. The appraisal accident was indeed our fault. You may go in for the exam. Thanks. Having said that, Lin Jin winked at the trio, flicked his sleeves, and stepped into the examination hall. I knew Master Lin could do it. Zhao Ying and Lu Xiaoyan were jumping with joy. Han Dong clenched his fists in excitement. Only then did the onlookers react. So this is what the beast appraisal accident was all about. 1 to 10, 10 to 100. Soon, everyone present knew about it. How could the people from the Beast Appraisal Association make such a mistake? Aren't they just trying to ruin their reputation? Some people felt indignant for Lin Jin. Tan Lin's expression was extremely ugly. She had indeed been a little too hasty in this matter. When Wang Ji came looking for her with a young man and pet beast for her to verify, she didn't take a closer look. Due to her preconceived notions of Lin Jin, she only needed to listen to the young man's words and take a quick look at the pet beast before making her decision. She never thought that this matter would embarrass her in front of everyone. Wang Ji was good at reading people's expressions. An idea came to his mind, and he whispered, "This Lin Jin doesn't know what's good for him. Even if he was wrong, he shouldn't have questioned him in person. Couldn't he have said it in private? Now that this has happened, it won't be good for his reputation. This man is too selfish. Even if he has the ability of a beast appraiser, his character isn't up to par." Tan Lin didn't say anything, but she agreed. That night, Lin Jin took advantage of her. Tan Lin had experienced it firsthand. A person who behaved inappropriately in private obviously didn't have a good character. No matter how skilled a person like him was in beast appraisal, he wasn't fit to be a beast appraiser. Moreover, half of the examination time has passed. Even if I take the examination now, I might not be able to finish all 10 evaluation reports in time, Wang Ji muttered to himself. He knew the contents of the beast appraiser's examination. Every candidate would be assigned a practice beast. The practice beast was a unique prop with a beast simulation amulet attached to it. An examiner would then activate the amulet. Each amulet would allow the practice beast to imitate a predetermined pet beast. Candidates would have to appraise all 10 beast simulation amulets within the allotted time and write an evaluation report. The score would be assessed based on the number of reports, completeness, and accuracy. One could imagine that an average candidate might not even be able to appraise all 10 beasts within the allotted time, let alone Lin Jin, who only had half the time. Hence, the chances of him passing the examination weren't high. Meanwhile, Dong He was glaring at Han Dong. However, Han Dong showed no signs of fear and remained resolute. Last night, Han Dong had sought out Dong He and told him that he would no longer help keep an eye on Lin Jin, nor would he report the situation back to the association. To Dong He, this was a betrayal. "How dare you, Han Dong? How dare you betray me? Just wait and see. Once Lin Jin is done for, the next one to be kicked out of the association will be you." Just then, 2 elderly men walked out from the Beast Appraisal Association. One of them was dressed in black. He was Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association's Elder MO. The other man wore a 3-ringed sleeve band, indicating that he was a rank 3 beast appraiser. Even in Dragon City's Beast Appraisal Association, a rank 3 beast appraiser was a prominent figure. "Father." At the sight of the elderly man, Tan Lin straightened up and hurried over to greet him. The man was the rank 3 beast appraiser invited by the City Lord Manor, Tan Sun. He was also Tan Lin's father. "Linner, why are you here too?" Tan Sun clasped his hands behind his back, looking calm and collected. The moment he appeared, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Wang Ji hurriedly went forward to greet him. Even in Gongxian, who had always felt superior, smiled and went forward to greet him. They were only rank 2 beast appraisers, so how could they dare to be disrespectful in front of a rank 3 beast appraiser? Moreover, Tan Sun held a high position in headquarters, as many beast appraisers were his disciples. "Elder Tan." The group rushed to greet him. Tan Sun nodded. His main reason for coming to Maple City was to assist the branch here in strengthening the seal on the monster under the geocentric fire vein. For some reason, the seal had loosened a few days ago. Elder Mo had reported this to headquarters, which was why they had to take action this time. Secondly, it just so happened that Maple City City Lord Manor had invited him to appraise a batch of mutated beast eggs. That was why he came personally. However, he didn't expect Wang Ji from Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association to be able to appraise the eggs so accurately. Tan Sun had read the evaluation report. Although it wasn't perfect, it was still an outstanding performance for a rank 2 beast appraiser. Hence, Tan Sun had a good impression of Wang Ji. Elder Tan, you've worked hard. I prepared a room for you. Please rest first, Wang Ji said with a bow. Good at flattery, he was bowing. Tan Sun nodded with a smile. He had been reinforcing the seal for the past few days, so he was a little tired. Suddenly, he took a closer look at Tan Lin. As if noticing something, his eyes lit up. Linner, give me your hand, Tan Sun suddenly said. Tan Lin didn't understand, but she handed her hand over anyway. Tan Sun took her pulse, and a moment later, he looked pleasantly surprised. Linner, the bestial soul curse in your body has been broken. Chapter 75. Tan Sun was genuinely happy, while Tan Lin was confused. Father, what are you talking about? What bestial soul curse? Tan Lin asked. Tan Sun snapped back to his senses and smacked his forehead. He said with a smile, I forgot. Your mother and I didn't tell you about this. Back when you were still young, Dad offended a powerful enemy. That person was despicable and shameless. Since he couldn't deal with me, he reached out to you instead. That person knew a secret technique and cast a bestial soul curse on you. Do you remember how you would often break out in cold sweat and have nightmares when you were young? Sometimes you would even faint suddenly? Tan Lin remembered and nodded. Wasn't it because you were sick? Tan Sun smiled bitterly. Your mother and I were afraid that you would be scared, so we lied to you. All those years, I tried my best to suppress the bestial soul curse in your body. After that, the curse never acted up again. Instead, it remained dormant and became a thorn in my side. Tan Lin was truly dumbfounded. How could something like this happen? Father, why didn't you tell me? Tan Sun said, If I told you, it would only add to your burden. That's why your mother and I discussed this and kept it a secret from you. All these years, I've read many ancient books in an attempt to completely dispel the curse in your body. Finally, I made some progress. However, I still need to make some preparations. I never expected that the bestial soul curse would actually be dispelled. Lin, did you sense it yourself and find an expert to dispel the curse for you? Tan Lin shook her head. How could she have noticed it? This was her first time hearing about it. Tan Sun continued. That bestial soul curse is no ordinary curse. Although you're a rank 2 beast appraiser, you're only good at appraising beasts, so you couldn't have dispelled it yourself. Tell me, who helped us so much? I want to thank him personally. No, I didn't find anyone to dispel the curse. I didn't even know about it. Tan Lin told the truth. She was indeed kept in the dark. If Tan Sun hadn't mentioned it, she wouldn't have known. This time, it was Tan Sun's turn to be stunned. You didn't know? Then how was the bestial soul curse dispelled? Tan Sun knew how powerful the curse in his daughter's body was. If it wasn't for someone dispelling it, it wouldn't have dissipated on its own under normal circumstances. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to find a way to dispel it all these years. The conversation between the father and daughter was overheard by the people around them. Among those present, Old Mo's status was second only to Tan Sun. At this moment, he said, It's true that the bestial soul curse can't dissipate on its own. If it were that easy, it wouldn't be called a taboo art. Since Linner doesn't know about it, perhaps an expert noticed it and secretly helped her break it. Tan Sun also came to a realization when he heard this. Yeah, that's the only explanation. Linner, have you met any experts recently? Tan Lin was baffled. She shook her head repeatedly. I have a lot of things to do and have to run around all day. I haven't met any experts. Then, have you sought medical advice? Tan Sun continued asking. No. Tan Lin was very sure. That's strange. Tan Sun stroked his beard, clearly perplexed. At the side, Old Mo said, perhaps Linner herself did not notice it. However, in order to break the curse, she has to come into contact with her body. If she thinks about it, she should be able to recall it. Tan Sun nodded in agreement. From what I've seen, the curse in Linner's body was probably broken within the past few days. In other words, it happened in Maple City. Everyone was shocked to hear this. Wang Ji, Nin Gongxian, and the others looked confused, wondering if there was a hidden expert in Maple City that they did not know about. That shouldn't be the case. Even if there was, it was impossible for them not to know about it. Tan Lin frowned at her father's words. The curse was broken within the past few days, but I've been in Maple City for the past few days, waiting for you to come out. No one has touched me except for... Tan Lin's expression darkened as she thought of something. As the saying went, no one knew a daughter better than her father. One look at his daughter's expression told Tan Sun that she had thought of something important. Linner, have you thought of something? Tell me, which hidden expert saved you? He's my benefactor, so we have to repay his kindness. Tan Lin's mind was a mess. Thinking back, the only person who had touched her in the past few days seemed to be that lecher, Lin Jean. Then, she thought about what happened that night. She wanted to make a secret visit to see if Lin Jean was as bad as Wang Ji's report described him to be. Hence, after finding out that Lin Jean was at the emergency hall, she went there. But when she arrived, the man took her pulse out of nowhere and then suddenly pressed a finger on her abdomen. She touched the spot and her heart skipped a beat. It's the Tianshu acupoint. Could it be? At this moment, Tan Lin thought of a possibility. Her face turned pale instantly. Even her fingers could not help but tremble. Everyone was confused by Tan Lin's reaction. Tan Sun, on the other hand, seemed to have noticed something. He knew his daughter better than anyone else. She must have figured something out. Linner, what's going on? Tan Sun asked. Tan Lin recalled that night. One of Lin Jin's apprentices seemed to have brought a young girl in with him. They must have asked for his help as well. Could he have mistaken Tan Lin for him? That was why he took her pulse and pressed his finger on her Tianshu acupoint? That couldn't be. I'm overthinking things. How could a single finger break a bestial soul curse that even father couldn't break? Tan Lin still held onto a sliver of hope. She glanced at Tan Sun and asked, Father, can the bestial soul curse in my body be broken by a single finger strike on my Tianshu acupoint? Tan Sun was stunned. Tan Sun was taken aback. After a moment of contemplation, he actually looked enlightened. Wonderful. Why didn't I think of this method? That's right. That curse is of the Yin attribute and is extremely cunning. If an expert can tell that the curse is located at the heaven's pivot acupoint, then they can use the fire origin spirit finger to strike the heaven's pivot acupoint when it's least expected. There is indeed a chance that the curse can be broken in an instant. However, it requires great skill and decisiveness. Linner, how did you come up with this idea? As if struck by lightning, Tan Lin's body swayed. Her heart was filled with a myriad of emotions that eventually turned into shame. It really was him. Lin Jean was the one who broke the bestial soul curse. In other words, not only did Lin Jean not take advantage of her, he even helped her get rid of the curse. And yet, Tan Lin repaid his kindness with ingratitude, immediately getting headquarters to revoke his qualification as a beast appraiser. Because of her stubbornness today, she almost banned Lin Jean. If he hadn't proven his innocence, he might not even be able to take the exam. She understood everything now. It was no wonder he accused her of slandering him back then. I help you out of kindness, but not only did you not thank me, you even tried to backstab me. What kind of person is this? If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have bothered with you. These words were like a heavy hammer that ruthlessly smashed into Tan Lin's chest. Guilt, regret, and self-blame caused the fire in her heart to backfire. Her face turned red, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone panicked. Tan Sun was the first to react. He immediately went forward and sealed Tan Lin's acupoints with his finger. At the same time, he took out a pill and fed it to her. Tan Lin was so ashamed that spitting out a mouthful of blood was a good thing. Otherwise, it would have been worse if she had kept it to herself. After taking a few deep breaths, Tan Lin said to Tan Sun, Father, I've made a huge mistake. Chapter 76. This time, Tan Lin told him everything in full detail. As she recounted the incident, everyone around her wore different expressions. Some of them had their mouths agape in shock, especially Wang Ji, whose eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Tan Sun asked, "Who is this Lin Jin?" No one dared to speak, especially Wang Ji. He had no idea what to say. Could he say that the person who saved his daughter was someone he deemed unqualified to be a beast appraiser? "Father, let me explain." Tan Lin explained Lin Jin's situation to her father. The more he listened, the darker Tan Sun's expression became. The more he listened, the deeper his frown became. Tan Lin told him about the evaluation incident and Lin Jin's punishment over the past few days. She didn't hold anything back. Foolish and willful, Tan Sun couldn't resist reprimanding his daughter. Tan Lin lowered her head. "Linner, no wonder you vomited blood out of shame. If I were in your shoes, I would have done the same. But since you're ashamed, it means you know what you did was wrong." Having said that, Tan Sun walked over to the Shadow Wolf. As Lin Jin went to take his exam, the Shadow Wolf waited where it was. If anyone else approached, it would growl in warning. But when Tan Sun approached, it didn't resist. Instead, it lowered its head obediently. With Tan Sun's skills as a rank 3 beast appraiser, taming a Shadow Wolf was a piece of cake. With just one glance, Tan Sun knew what was going on. That wasn't an appraisal accident. The Shadow Wolf's bloodline is hidden very well. Only an expert beast appraiser would be able to detect it. And if I'm not mistaken, the thing that activated the wolf's bloodline was the blood-dissolving spirit seal. It's a very advanced spirit seal technique. Even in headquarters, there aren't many beast appraisers who can master this spirit seal technique. That one sentence was enough to give Lin Jin a high evaluation. Wang Ji had obviously heard of the blood-dissolving spirit seal before. However, his mastery of the technique was mediocre. He couldn't possibly activate a pet beast's bloodline with just one spirit seal. "Linner, you're now an inspector dispatched by headquarters. So whether Lin Jin is suitable to be a beast appraiser or not is up to you to decide. I won't interfere in this matter anymore," Tan Sun said. Although he said he wouldn't interfere, his attitude was clear. At this moment, Tan Lin also took a deep breath, her expression incomparably solemn. "Chief Wang, please bring me Lin Jin's past evaluation records immediately. I want to check them. Also, bring me some of his evaluation reports as well." Tan Lin, who had returned to normal, now showed her capable side. Wang Ji obviously didn't want to see this happen, so he said, "I don't think Lin Jin was the one who broke appraiser Tan Lin's bestial soul curse. Based on what I know, he doesn't have the ability to do so. And if it was him, why didn't he say anything? I think this matter still needs to be verified." Tan Lin frowned. Previously, she had a strong opinion of Lin Jin. But after learning that Lin Jin was her savior, her attitude changed. She hadn't noticed Wang Ji's attitude before, but now she could tell that Wang Ji was prejudiced against Lin Jin. He was even purposely picking on him. "Chief Wang, I'll make my decision. Please do as I say," Tan Lin said expressionlessly. Wang Ji had no choice but to send someone to retrieve Lin Jin's score. As for the evaluation reports, they weren't kept. But since Zhao Ying was present, she had Han Dong rush over to retrieve them. Soon, the items were brought over. Tan Lin inspected them on the spot. Having regained her impartiality, she immediately noticed the problem. First, it was Lin Jin's evaluation reports. The contents were too subjective, and many of them were unverifiable. In fact, many of the same incidents, which were trivial to others, became intolerable mistakes to Lin Jin. It's no wonder Lin Jin's score is so low. Tan Lin glared at Wang Ji. If she still couldn't figure out what was going on, she would truly be a fool. It was obvious that Wang Ji had been suppressing Lin Jin, and it was a blatant suppression. Looking at the evaluation reports brought over by Zhao Ying, Tan Lin felt that she had been too careless. She had failed to check Lin Jin's evaluation reports when she was here to supervise him. With a single glance, she was immediately convinced by the contents of these evaluation reports. These evaluation reports could be used as a model even in the headquarters. This was a world of difference from the evaluation Wang Ji and the others gave. Wang Ji's expression was grim. He didn't say a word, because he had nothing to say. However, he wasn't afraid. There was a certain degree of subjectivity in the evaluation of his subordinates, and it was entirely up to him. Even if there were some deviations, he could only blame it on his own negligence. He could even find a random subordinate to be his scapegoat and take the blame. At that moment, Wang Ji said, "I rarely interact with Lin Jin. After all, the association is such a large organization, so it's hard to cover everything. Zhang He, you were the one who recorded Lin Jin's daily activities. Tell me, why did you write him down so badly? How much of your daily reports are filled with exaggerations?" Wang Ji had obviously found a scapegoat. Zhang He shuddered in fear. But he wasn't dumb. He knew he had to take responsibility for certain things. Hence, he quickly stepped forward and said, "Chief, Appraiser Tan Lin, it's my fault. I wasn't strict enough and only heard rumors. Hence, some parts of the report were exaggerated, but most of it is true." Then, Nin Gongxian spoke up, "This isn't a big deal. Moreover, Lin Jin's case is mainly related to the previous evaluation incident. But since it was verified that it wasn't an accident, we can revoke his previous punishment. At most, Lin Jin will be reinstated as a beast appraiser." As expected of an elder, Nin Gongxian was able to minimize the issue with just one sentence. He clearly didn't plan to hold someone accountable. He also pointed out that Tan Lin was involved in the evaluation of the previous evaluation incident. If someone were to be held accountable, Tan Lin wouldn't be able to get away with it. This move was indeed brilliant. Wang Ji, Zhang He, and the others were delighted in their hearts. They thought to themselves that the older the ginger, the spicier it was. With Elder Nangong standing on their side, they should be able to get away with it. However, Tan Lin had no intention of getting away with this. Or rather, it was her pride that made it impossible for her to do so. "I will take responsibility for my oversight. From today onwards, I will resign from my position as an inspector. Maple City's association will have to take this matter seriously to prevent the same thing from happening again." She was clearly not going to let this go. Nan Gongxian frowned, but said nothing. Tan Lin wasn't giving him face, so there was nothing he could do. He glanced at Wang Ji, implying that there was nothing he could do to help. Wang Ji knew that he had to cut his losses, so he took a deep breath and said, "Appraiser Tan Lin is right. I am also responsible for this, so I will forfeit 3 months of my salary. At the same time, I will revoke Zhang He's qualifications to hold a consultation hall and demote him to an ordinary apprentice. He will be kept in the association for observation, and if he refuses to learn, he will be severely punished." It took many years for an apprentice to have their own consultation hall. Now that Zhang He's consultation hall had been canceled, it was equivalent to closing down the hall. His years of hard work had gone up in smoke. Zhang He's expression immediately turned ugly, but he could only accept it. Shutting down his consultation hall was better than being chased out. Nan Gongxian knew that it was best for this matter to end here, so he offered to invite the rank 3 beast appraiser, Tan Sun, to a banquet. Wang Ji came to his senses and said, "Look at my bad memory. Since Elder Tan is visiting Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association, how can we not be the host? Symphony Restaurant's dishes are pretty good, and we've already prepared a banquet. We hope Elder Tan will do us the honor, and we can use this opportunity to ask for your guidance in beast appraisal." To his surprise, Tan Sun shook his head. "It's not convenient for me to interfere in Maple City's association's internal affairs, and I won't interfere either. But for the benefactor who saved my daughter, I, Tan Sun, have to wait for him to come out and thank him in person." Chapter 77. Tan Sun said he wanted to wait for his benefactor, so Wang Ji, Nin Gongxian, and the others couldn't say anything else. Since they couldn't leave on their own, they could only stay and wait. Right now, Wang Ji was extremely annoyed. Lin Jin was supposed to be done for. How did he manage to turn things around in such a short amount of time? But so be it. He would let Zhang He take the blame for the grading. When the time came, he could just write a self-reflection report and send it to headquarters. That should be enough to settle this matter. As for Lin Jin, he couldn't do anything to him for now. He would just have to wait a little longer. While Wang Ji was contemplating, he heard a commotion behind him. Turning around, he saw a sapphire turtle. Wang Ji recognized this turtle. It was the pet beast of the Zhu family's young master. Zhu and Wang Ji had even treated it before. The turtle was probably terminally ill and was doomed to die. But now, the sapphire turtle didn't look like it was dying at all. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was alive and kicking. Wang Ji had been busy recently, so he didn't know that Lin Jin had cured this sapphire turtle. Behind the sapphire turtle was Zhu Kan and his father, the Zhu family's patriarch, Zhu Tianhong. This man was of high status in Maple City. Why was he suddenly paying a visit? The Zhu family member was carrying a plaque with the words "Miraculous Hands" written on it. It was a plaque. In the Beast Appraisal Association, it wasn't uncommon to receive plaques like this. In Wang Ji's consultation hall alone, there were more than 10 plaques hanging on the wall. Zhu Tianhong was a prominent figure, so Wang Ji had no choice but to welcome him. However, the man's first words made Wang Ji feel like he had swallowed a fly. Zhu Tianhong said, "Chief Wang, may I know where appraiser Lin Jin is? We're here to give him a plaque to thank him for curing my son's pet beast's illness." It was for Lin Jin. Wang Ji mused. If I had known, I wouldn't have come. But since he was already here, he could only smile sheepishly and say, Lin Jin is still taking his exam. When he comes out, Patriarch Zhu can hand it over to him personally. Zhu Tianhong nodded. Zukin looked around. When he saw Zhao, Ying, and the others, he walked over. What do you think? I'll have my father make a plaque and send it over personally. With this, who would dare say that appraiser Lin doesn't live up to his reputation? Zukin obviously had a plan in mind. He owed Lin Jin a favor and knew that Lin Jin would be taking the exam today after his qualifications as a beast appraiser were revoked. Zukin planned to use this method to boost Lin Jin's reputation. It had to be said that Zhu Kan's move was extremely effective. Along the way, they attracted quite a few onlookers. After all, it was a plaque personally delivered by the Zhu family, so it was hard not to attract attention. Now, who would dare say that Lin Jin didn't live up to his reputation? So many facts had proven that Lin Jin was capable, and the Zhu family's gift of a plaque only served to solidify Lin Jin's capabilities. What day is it today? Why is it so lively? Two people squeezed through the crowd and walked over. On the other side, Wang Ji saw one of the two and immediately went up to greet him. Even Zhu Tianhong, the patriarch of the Zhu family, did not behave in such a manner. It was obvious that the person who had come this time was no ordinary person. Master Gu, why are you here? Wang Ji was indeed surprised. This person was none other than the master painter, Gu Mingzhong. The old man who came with Gu Mingzhong was dressed in plain clothes, but many people recognized him. It's Liao Gu, Master Chef Liao. I heard that Symphony Restaurant lied to their customers and Master Chef Liao left in anger. Ever since that day, Symphony Restaurant's business has been declining day by day. I know. I also heard that this incident has something to do with appraiser Lin. Wang Ji could ignore Liao Gu, but he didn't dare to slight Gu Mingzhong. After all, this master painter's circle of friends was terrifying. Just a single word from him could affect his future. At the sight of Wang Ji, Gu Mingzhong scoffed. I'm here to support a friend of mine. I heard that he was treated unfairly, so I'm here to seek justice for him. Wang Ji was even more flustered now. He mused. Master Gu wouldn't be here for Lin Jin too, would he? That's highly possible. He was also aware of what had happened in the Symphony Restaurant. Thus, his expression turned even uglier. Master Gu, what a coincidence. Tan Sun came over and greeted Gu Mingzhong with a smile. Upon seeing Tan Sun, Gu Mingzhong saluted him with a smile. So, what's appraiser Tan? I've long heard that appraiser Tan has come to Maple City. I wanted to pay you a visit, but I never got the chance. Master Gu, you must be joking. I should be the one paying you a visit. I couldn't even meet you in Jade Dragon City, even if I wanted to. Even when I wanted to ask for a painting from you, you rejected me with all sorts of excuses. In the end, I had to go through other channels to obtain a genuine piece of your work. Tan Sun was visibly angry. No matter what, he was a rank 3 beast appraiser. When it came to putting on airs, he was the best at it. However, compared to Gu Mingzhong, he paled in comparison. Gu Mingzhong was the one who truly knew how to put on airs. Both of them were old acquaintances, so they would argue whenever they met. Sure enough, Gumengzhong didn't mince words. "Appraiser Tan, you can't blame me for this. We agreed that if you help me think of a blood-pact method for the ink monster, I'll give you 10 of them, much less one. You were the one who said 10 days would be enough, but when the 10 days were up, you asked for a month and then 3 months. I can't wait any longer." Tan Sun blushed. "About that, it's my fault. Sigh, it's hard to form a blood pact with an ink monster. This has been the case since ancient times. But it's not like I've never thought of a way that can't be realized as just a fantasy. Look at the things you've asked me to collect. What starling grass? What divine inkwood? Haven't you seen any of them before? Where am I supposed to find them? Isn't this a scam? But Appraiser Tan, you've done your best. Out of gratitude, I'll draw one for you when I return to the royal city." At the mention of the ink monster, Gumengzhong was delighted. Over the past few days, he had been diligently practicing the ink monster's sword technique and could now use it a little. He had decided that once he perfected the ink monster's sword technique, he would travel the world alone with his sword and leave behind a legend for future generations. He would be like an ancient sword immortal. Just the thought of it was enough to excite him. Perhaps to show off, Gumengzhong flicked his sleeve, and a blob of ink floated into the air. It swirled around his palm in a mystical manner. When Tan Sun saw it, he was stunned. "This is an ink monster? Master Gu, when did you form a blood pact with it?" Tan Sun was shocked. Back when Gumengzhong obtained the ink monster, he immediately came to Tan Sun to ask for a blood pact method. However, forming a blood pact with an ink monster had always been a difficult task. Even though Tan Sun was a rank 3 beast appraiser, the blood pact method he came up with was currently unachievable. For example, he needed starling grass and divine ink wood to refine a blood pact pill. However, these two ingredients have been extinct for many years. Even if they were available, it would be difficult to exchange for them. He had thought of other methods, but none of them were suitable. Hence, he didn't manage to do it back then. Because of this, he had been avoiding Gumengzhong for a period of time because he couldn't think of a better blood pact method. To think that after not seeing each other for a few months, Gumengzhong had successfully formed a blood pact with the ink monster. Tan Sun knew that Gumengzhong would never have thought of a way to form a blood pact with the ink monster. He must have received guidance from an expert. Now, he really wanted to know what method Gumengzhong used to form a blood pact with this rank 3 ink monster. It's only been a few days. Gumengzhong was pleased with the subtle effect of showing off. All the beast appraisers present were staring at his ink monster with widened eyes. "Then which master beast appraiser gave you pointers?" Tan Sun continued asking. "Master beast appraiser? That's not it. He's just an average rank 1 beast appraiser in Maple City." Gumengzhong's words stunned the crowd. Rank 1 beast appraiser? There were only 2 rank 1 beast appraisers in Maple City. One of them was Gao Jiang, and the other was Lin Jin. Coincidentally, Gao Jiang had just arrived. He had signed up for the advancement exam and was stunned to see so many people here. Then, he quickly bowed to Tan Sun and the others. Meanwhile, Master Gu didn't even spare Gao Jiang a glance. With that, anyone who wasn't an idiot would know who it was. Could it be? It's appraiser Lin Jin again. Chapter 78. Tan Lin came over and bowed at Gumengzhong. Could the rank 1 beast appraiser that Master Gu mentioned be Lin Jin? She asked the question that was on everyone's mind. Tan Sun's eyes lit up as he turned to Gumengzhong. Gumengzhong didn't try to hide it. He had come here specifically to back Lin Jin up. Liao Gu had told him about Lin Jin's hall being shut down. He couldn't take it anymore, so he came here. That's right, it's Lin Jin. I met him a few days ago, and only then did I find out that there's such a talented young man in Maple City. He's still young, but he already has the demeanor of a master in beast appraising. Upon hearing Gumengzhong's words, the crowd was finally convinced. It really is Appraiser Lin. Amazing. Even Appraiser Tan Sun couldn't figure out how to form a blood contract with a pet beast, but he managed to do so. Is he still at the level of a rank 1 beast appraiser? We're in for a good show. The Beast Appraisal Association was able to belittle appraiser Lin previously. Now, let's see how they're going to clean up this mess. Among them, Zhang He was the most terrified. In the past, he was the one who badmouthed Lin Jin the most. Now that Lin Jin was getting more and more famous, he was afraid. Wang Ji felt as uncomfortable as if he had swallowed a fly. I didn't expect our association's appraiser Lin to be so talented. As chief, I haven't been paying enough attention to him. From now on, I'll have to pay more attention to him. On the other hand, there are some people in our association who aren't skilled and have despicable characters. They can't stand others doing well and would spread rumors behind their backs. I, Wang Ji, will definitely get to the bottom of this matter and punish this malevolent group. Wang Ji sneered at Lin Jin and said, I didn't expect our association's appraiser Lin to be so talented. Having said that, he shot Zhang He a sideways glance. Damn it, why are you looking at me? Zhang He had already cursed all 8 generations of Wang Ji's ancestors in his mind. Needless to say, Wang Ji was planning to pin all the blame on him. One could imagine how tragic his fate would be. He might even be kicked out of the association. Moreover, Zhang He still had no idea what was going on. He used to be an apprentice under Lin Jin's name, and the man was indeed average back then. Could Lin Jin have been hiding his abilities back then? That was a possibility. Zhang He was filled with regret. If he had known Lin Jin was this amazing, he would never have switched allegiance. It's time to clean up some of the evil practices in the association. Moreover, I've also heard that these rumors and slanders are all related to Zhang He. This matter has a very bad influence, so I suggest that he be severely punished, Nin Gongxian said at this moment. He knew very well that even Master Gu had stepped in today's matter. If the matter was not resolved, Tan Sun and Tan Lin would definitely not let the matter rest. Since that was the case, he could only cut off his wrists. After Wang Ji was enlightened by this sentence, he immediately understood the stakes. His face darkened as he said, Elder Nangong is right. Zhang He, you are spreading lies and maliciously slandering others. In the name of the President, I revoke your qualifications as an apprentice. From today onwards, you are no longer a member of the association. Zhang He's body swayed, and he almost fainted. In order to become a beast appraiser, he had worked hard for many years. Just when he finally made some progress, Wang Ji and the others mercilessly chased him away. This was equivalent to destroying his future as a beast appraiser. At once, a surge of hatred surged within him. He wasn't a saint. If he were an honest man, he wouldn't have betrayed Lin Jin back then and made a false accusation against him. If he could make a false accusation against Lin Jin back then, he could do the same to Wang Ji today. Now that he had been slandered and even lost his qualifications as an apprentice, Zhang He decided to throw caution to the wind. Wang Ji, you're getting rid of me after I've outlived my usefulness. Zhang He, have been your dog and done so many shameful things for you. Yet you don't care about my feelings at all, turning against me just like that. Fine, since you want to chase me away and ruin my future, Zhang He, won't let you off easy. If we're talking about dealing with Lin Jin, you're the mastermind. For the sake of Jia Qian, you wanted to chase Lin Jin away, so you could recommend her to take over. Then, you colluded with Nan Gongxian. Before he could finish, Zhang He was pounced on by a pet beast and fainted. Needless to say, this was Wang Ji's pet beast. For Zhang He to say those things in public, it was like roasting Wang Ji with fire. How could Wang Ji hold himself back? This Zhang He is truly vicious and despicable. Not only did he slander appraiser Lin, he even tried to frame Elder Nangong and I. As the chief of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association, I'm truly ashamed of myself for not disciplining my subordinates properly. Wang Ji looked indignant as he reflected on himself. But now, no matter how extravagant his words were, everyone had their own balance in their hearts. Wang Ji might not be any cleaner than Zhang He. However, he was the chief of the association after all. His identity and status were undeniable. His negligence towards his subordinates might have damaged his reputation, but it was far from enough to shake Wang Ji's position. Tan Sun and Tan Lin were aware of this. Tan Sun, in particular, was rather impressed by Wang Ji. At the very least, the man was quite accomplished in beast appraising. Just take the batch of mutated pet beasts from the City Lord Manor, for example. Wang Ji's evaluation report was excellent. Hence, Tan Sun didn't want to pursue the matter any further. He obviously didn't want to stir up a commotion on his trip here. He wanted this matter to end here. Chief Wang, as the chief of the association, you have indeed made a mistake in this matter. In the future, you must understand your subordinates better. You can't blindly focus on your skills. Also, you have to be fair. Tan Sun said. While he sounded like he was reprimanding Wang Ji, he was actually telling everyone that this matter was over. How could Wang Ji not understand that appraiser Tan Sun was giving him a way out of this embarrassing situation? Wang Ji immediately went with the flow and said, Elder Tan, you're right. I will definitely reflect on my mistakes and never do it again. He let out a long sigh, thinking that he had finally passed this hurdle. It was too dangerous. Tam Lin frowned, but since her father had spoken, she couldn't say anything else. Wang Ji quickly said, Quickly inform Appraiser Lin that the misunderstanding has been cleared up. Appraiser Tan Lin has already reinstated his qualifications as an official beast appraiser. He doesn't need to take the exam anymore. Right, Appraiser Lin's consultation hall needs to be reopened as well. Have the logistics department's manager pick out a bigger consultation hall for Appraiser Lin. Admittedly, Wang Ji's remedy was timely. At least, Tan Sun nodded after hearing this. Tan Lin sighed and decided not to pursue the matter any further. Tan Sun walked over to Gu Mengzhong and said with a smile, Master Gu, it's been a while. When Lin Jin comes out later, let's have a drink together. Gu Mengzhong nodded. He planned to introduce Lin Jin to Tan Sun as a way to help Lin Jin expand his network. Right, Master Gu, I bet you didn't expect me to come across an authentic painting of yours during my trip to Maple City. Chapter 79. At this, Gu Mengzhong asked curiously, I've rarely painted in recent years, so it's rare to see them in the market. Where did you get it from? Appraiser Tan. Bring it over and let me see if it's a fake. Tan Sun laughed. Someone gave it to me, and I've personally appraised it. It's definitely not a fake. Come, bring it over and let Master go have a look. The painting Tan Sun was referring to was one of Gu Mengzhong's works he received as a gift from the City Lord Manor. When he saw it, he could tell it was a genuine work at first glance. However, he was afraid of offending Gu Mengzhong, so he had to show it to him. Because he liked this painting so much, Tan Sun had his follower bring it to him wherever he went. Now, his follower stepped forward and handed the painting to him. Wang Ji was stunned when he saw it. He remembered Steward Zhua of the City Lord Manor telling him that one of the gifts he sent over was a genuine work by Master Gu. Back then, Wang Ji didn't think much of it and assumed that Steward Zhua had made a mistake. Could this be the painting he was talking about? Wang Ji shook his head. If it was a painting he ordered his follower to buy, it had to be a fake. How could it possibly be genuine? Wang Ji couldn't believe that appraiser Tan would make a mistake too. On the other side, Tan Sun had already carefully unrolled the painting. The surrounding people immediately crowded around him, wanting to see if it was genuine. When the painting was unfurled, Gu Mengzhong's brows furrowed and his expression darkened. Cooking god Liao Gu, who was standing at the side, also saw the painting and said in surprise, Isn't this? He didn't finish his sentence. Liao Gu wasn't dumb either. There was clearly something fishy going on here. Tan Sun asked, How is it? Is this your real work, Master Gu? Gu Mengzhong nodded without a smile. That's right. It's my own work. Haha, I knew it. How could I make a mistake when it's Master Gu's work? Tan Sun was pleased with himself as he praised the City Lord Manor. As expected of the City Lord Manor, they were truly generous. Tan Sun was about to put it away. Gu Mengzhong reached out to stop him. Master Gu, what are you doing? Tan Sun was stunned. Only then did he notice that Gu Mengzhong's expression was extremely ugly. This puzzled Tan Sun. Appraiser Tan, let me ask you, where did you get this painting from? Gu Mengzhong asked. Although Tan Sun was puzzled, he answered honestly, A few days ago, I went to Maple City Lord Manor as a guest. City Lord Bai gave it to me. Oomph. Gu Mingzhong snorted coldly. Tan Sun knew that there must be something going on here. Otherwise, Gu Mingzhong wouldn't have fallen out with him. What's going on? Tan Sun asked. Just then, Master Chef Liao Gu said, this painting was clearly given to Lin Jin by Meng Zhong a few days ago. How did it end up in the City Lord Manor? And how did it end up in your hands, Appraiser Tan? Tan Sun cried out. This was not a trivial matter. Liao Gu's tone was obviously doubtful. Wang Ji's heart also suddenly beat wildly, and an extremely ominous feeling welled up in his heart. He felt that something was going to happen again. Could it be a mistake? This painting was indeed given to him by the City Lord Manor, Tan Sun's followers said. Tan Sun turned to Gu Mingzhong as well, hoping that he was mistaken. Gu Mingzhong pointed to a corner of the painting and said, this painting has a big perspective. At first glance, it looks like a landscape, but in reality, there's a small courtyard with 3 people chatting in it. This is the scene where Brother Liao, Lin Jin, and I were chatting. How could I possibly be mistaken? Gu Mingzhong pointed to a corner of the painting. Tan Sun paled. Someone said, could Appraiser Lin have sent it to the City Lord Manor? Gu Mingzhong shook his head. When I went to look for Lin Jin to form a blood pact with the ink monster, he told me that the painting I gave him was lost in the Beast Appraisal Association. Back then, I had no choice but to draw a new one for him. Now that I think about it, this isn't as simple as it seems. Since this concerns the City Lord Manor, let them send someone over. We'll know once we ask them. Someone immediately went to inform the City Lord Manor. No one noticed that Wang Ji's face had turned as red as a pig's liver. Soon, the City Lord Manor's steward, Zhuo Wentong, arrived. Both Tan Sun and Master Gu were important figures, so Zhuo Wentong didn't dare to slight them. Steward Zhuo, what's going on with this painting? Tan Sun recounted the incident. Zhuo Wentong looked at it and recalled the incident. This painting was sent by Chief Wang Ji. Didn't we bring a batch of mutant eggs to the association for appraisal? Before we left, Chief Wang sent this painting as one of the gifts. After Zhuo Wentong said this, everyone turned to look at Wang Ji. By now, Wang Ji already knew what was going on. No matter how thick his skin was or how firm his mental state was, he still couldn't help but break out in cold sweat at this moment, and he was flustered. Because this wasn't just a matter of a painting, it was also related to the Mayuan eggs. Only he knew that Lin Jin was the one who appraised the mutant eggs that night, not him. He couldn't come up with any more excuses. He knew that after Lin Jin appraised the eggs, he must have left the painting in the appraisal hall, and it was sent to the City Lord Manor as a gift. But how was he supposed to explain this? If he did, he would expose himself. He had no choice but to say it, or others would assume he stole the painting. The crowd wasn't dumb either. Seeing how Wang Ji was stuttering, they knew there was more to this than meets the eye. Even An Gongxin's heart was thumping wildly. Then he calmly took 2 steps to the side, distancing himself from Wang Ji. He had a feeling that something big was about to happen today. Just then, the bell in the association rang. The exam was over. Soon, the candidates filed out. With his sharp eyes, Zukin immediately spotted Lin Jin, who was walking out with the crowd. Appraiser Lin, over here. Zukin called out. Lin Jin noticed him too and walked over. However, he was stunned when he got closer. Why was there such a grand lineup? Zukin, Master Chef Liao, and Master Gu were here too. Having just finished his exam, Lin Jin was dumbfounded by this grand scene. When Tan Lin saw Lin Jin, guilt welled up within her. She wanted to apologize, but found it inappropriate to do so. Tan Sun knew his daughter better than anyone else, so he stepped forward and bowed. This had nothing to do with Lin Jin's identity as a beast appraiser. It was purely a gesture of gratitude from a father to his daughter's benefactor. Appraiser Lin, your fire spirit finger that broke the celestial pivot was truly amazing. I thank you on behalf of my daughter. At Tan Sun's words, Lin Jin understood what was going on. She's your daughter? Lin Jin asked, pointing at Tan Lin. Tan Sun nodded. Lin Jin's next words made Tan Sun feel ashamed. Although it was a misunderstanding that night, I was helping her out of goodwill. It's one thing for her to be ungrateful, but not only did she gang up with Wang Ji to plot against me. She even tried to blacklist me. You have to do something about this. He looked aggrieved. Tan Sun blushed. To think he was lectured by a junior. But since he was in the wrong, he nodded. Yes, my daughter has been spoiled since she was young, and she's been too willful. She made a rash decision before figuring out the truth. I've already reprimanded her. Seeing Tan Sun admit his mistake so nicely, Lin Jin didn't say anything else. He nodded and said, "That's good, but it's enough to teach her a lesson. Don't be too harsh with your words. Girls are thin-skinned, and I'm afraid she won't be able to take it." This scene left the bystanders dumbfounded. Even Master Gu couldn't take it anymore. "Lin Jin, this is Elder Tan, a rank 3 beast appraiser from your Beast Appraisal Association headquarters." Lin Jin was startled. When Tan Sun had one hand behind his back, Lin Jin didn't notice the beast emblem on his sleeve. Now that he turned around, he realized the man was indeed wearing a rank 3 beast emblem sleeve band. Chapter 80. A rank 3 beast appraiser was definitely a prominent figure. There wasn't a single rank 3 beast appraiser in the entire Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association. Lin Jin immediately greeted him with the etiquette of a beast appraiser. "Elder Tan." Tan Sun smiled and nodded. He had a good impression of Lin Jin. Despite his young age, he possessed extraordinary skills, yet he wasn't arrogant. It was then that Lin Jin noticed the painting. He walked over to take a closer look before exclaiming in surprise, "Isn't this the painting I lost? Why is it here?" This confirmed what Gu Mengzhong had said before. He was the one who gave this painting to Lin Jin. So why did Lin Jin's painting end up at the City Lord Manor? Why was it given to Tan Sun as a gift? This was what everyone wanted to know. Since it was a gift from Wang Ji to the City Lord Manor, they had to ask him first. Thus, Tan Sun asked Wang Ji, "Chief Wang, how do you explain this?" Wang Ji was already sweating profusely. He could only say, "Perhaps appraiser Lin accidentally left it behind, and it was mistaken as a gift. That doesn't make sense. You can't just pick something up and use it as a gift." "Chief Wang, are you hiding something from us?" Gu Mingzhong glanced at Wang Ji and knew he wasn't telling the truth. "No, I'm not sure about that either. My subordinates were the ones who prepared the gift. I was completely kept in the dark about this." Wang Ji tried his best to defend himself, but his efforts were futile. Lin Jin's words pierced through the veil of paper. "That's possible. That's possible. That night, I appraised a batch of mutated beast eggs and spent the whole night tossing and turning. I don't know when I fell asleep. When I woke up, the painting was gone. It's possible that someone took it by mistake. Don't blame President Wang for this. He definitely doesn't know." F***CK. Wang Ji felt a chill run down his spine as if his clothes had been ripped off his body. His cover was finally blown. "Mutant eggs?" Tan Sun frowned. As if remembering something, he immediately asked, "Appraiser Lin, are you saying that you were the one who appraised the batch of mutant eggs sent over by the City Lord Manor?" Lin Ji nodded. "That's right. I heard they were sent over by the City Lord Manor. There were a total of 11. Did you appraise it alone?" Tan Sun asked again. Lin Jin answered honestly. "Chief Wang and appraiser Gao Jiang have already completed the evaluation reports for 2 of them. As for the other 9, I wrote them myself." Tan Sun took a deep breath. He probably already knew what was going on. He glared fiercely at Wang Ji. The latter no longer dared to raise his head, and his hands were trembling nonstop. It wasn't that Wang Ji was incompetent, but according to the rules of beast appraisers, plagiarism was a taboo. Not only did he plagiarize, he even destroyed Lin Jin's evaluation report. Wang Ji thought to himself, no matter what, he could not admit it. Tan Sun ignored him and turned to Lin Jin instead. "Appraiser Lin, it just so happens that I've personally appraised those 11 mutated beast eggs before, so I'm very familiar with them. Since you said that you've appraised them yourself, you must have remembered the details. I won't look at your evaluation report. I just want to ask you about one of the beast eggs. It was 1 foot and 8 inches tall and had patterns that looked like golden rings." Before he could speak, Lin Jin continued, "I remember. When I appraised this mutated beast egg, it was a wind-slashing mantis with a metal attribute. This was what was written in my evaluation report, Lin Jin spoke tirelessly, explaining his appraisal theories and the details he relied on. Most importantly, as long as it was an evaluation report he wrote, there would be a copy of it in the Museum of Deadly Beasts, so he couldn't forget it. He just had to read it out loud. Wang Ji's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he mused. Is Lin Jin a ghost? How could he remember this? Moreover, Lin Jin had recited it word for word. Tan Sun, Tan Lin, and the other beast appraisers listened in silence. Sometimes their eyes lit up, sometimes they frowned in contemplation, and sometimes they came to a sudden realization. They were all mesmerized. When Lin Jin was done, everyone felt like he hadn't had enough. This was especially true for Tan Lin. She was now looking at Lin Jin as if he was a monster. As a rank 2 beast appraiser, Tan Lin had always thought highly of herself. She assumed that among the beast appraisers in Jade Dragon Kingdom who were under 30 years old, she could be ranked in the top 5. But today, she felt like Lin Jin had beaten her to a pulp. Even if she had a dozen reference books, she wouldn't be able to come up with a theory for appraising a mixed beast. However, this only served to ignite her competitive spirit. In terms of age, she was about the same as Lin Jin. In terms of experience and background, she had the guidance of a rank 3 beast appraiser father. No matter how she looked at it, she shouldn't lose to Lin Jin. But now, she had to admit that she was inferior to Lin Jin. Tan Sun was now certain of his speculation because he had seen some of the theories Lin Jin mentioned in Wang Ji's evaluation reports before. Although they had been modified, the essence was the same. Lin Jin, let me ask you again. Do you remember a beast egg that was the largest in size? How did you appraise it? Tan Sun asked. Lin Jin nodded. I do. It's a fire-scaled Tyrannosaurus. It's a fire attribute. That's what I wrote in the evaluation report. Another round of explanation. This time, everyone was convinced. Some of the smarter ones had already taken out their notebooks to record the key points. This was comparable to a teacher's lecture. Seeing this, some of them quickly followed suit. Many of them were busy taking notes. Those who didn't know better might even think that some great appraiser was giving a public lecture. Tan Sun nodded as he listened. He was a rank 3 beast appraiser. If he couldn't tell what was going on, he would have lived his life in vain. All right, appraiser Lin, that's enough. Tan Sun stopped asking questions because there was no need to. He turned to Wang Ji and asked, Chief Wang, let me ask you, did appraiser Lin participate in the appraisal of that batch of mixed beast eggs? If he did, why was your signature the only one in the evaluation report? Wang Ji felt his scalp prickle. He lowered his head and said nothing. Tan Sun immediately turned to Gao Jiang and asked, Appraiser Gao Jiang, right? Startled, Gao Jiang nodded at once. Elder Tan, I'm Gao Jiang. Let me ask you, did you know about this? Tan Sun asked with a dark expression. Gao Jiang groaned inwardly. Wang Ji could keep quiet, but he didn't dare to not answer. He could only bite the bullet and say, I did. Did appraiser Lin participate? Yes, but Chief Wang was the one who arranged the details. Good. Tan Sun suppressed his anger and yelled at Wang Ji. Wang Ji, do you know your crime? As a beast appraiser, plagiarizing others' evaluation reports was taboo. What was plagiarism? Taking someone else's knowledge for one's own use and claiming to the public that it was his own merit. This was what Wang Ji was doing now. I didn't see Lin Jin's signature in those 11 evaluation reports. As a chief, don't you feel ashamed for plagiarizing others' evaluation reports and taking credit for it? Tan Sun was furious. What Wang Ji had done had crossed the line. Cold sweat dripped down Wang Ji's face. He knew that he had lost the upper hand. Only then did everyone come to a sudden realization. So, it was appraiser Lin who appraised the mixed beast eggs. Chief Wang not only suppressed appraiser Lin, but he also plagiarized and took credit for it. How despicable. So appraiser Lin has suffered so much. I believed the rumors and thought he didn't live up to his reputation. Now that I think about it, I'm truly ashamed. Now that the truth has been revealed, it was Wang Ji who had been suppressing and defaming appraiser Lin. Tan Sun turned to Tan Lin and said, Liner, you're still an inspector sent by headquarters. According to headquarters rules, how should we deal with this matter? Tan Lin said with a straight face. According to headquarters rules, plagiarizing and taking credit for it is a huge taboo. Also, Chief Wang abused his authority to bully his subordinates. His behavior is unethical, and I believe he is no longer fit to be chief of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association. As an inspector from headquarters, I hereby revoke Chief Wang Ji's position. As for his rank 2 Beast Appraiser qualification, I will report this to headquarters and let them decide. Having said that, she took out the Beast Appraisal Association's communication amulet and wrote down her decision. Then, she invoked a spell, and the amulet immediately transformed into a stream of light that shot into the sky. At this, Wang Ji finally couldn't take it anymore. His eyes rolled back, and he fainted. Chapter 81. Wang Ji fainted, but no one pitied him. After all, from the looks of it, Wang Ji using his position to suppress the rising star was already a sure thing. Everyone knew how he had dealt with Lin Jin recently. His consultation hall would be shut down, and he would be demoted to the emergency hall. In the end, his qualifications as a beast appraiser would be revoked, and he would be expelled from the association. Wang Ji didn't think so before, but after witnessing Lin Jin's talents, anyone with the slightest bit of judgment would conclude Wang Ji's actions as jealousy. Tan Lin's way of handling the matter was to everyone's satisfaction. Wang Ji was carried away. Now that the truth has been revealed, Appraiser Lin, it was my mistake to have misunderstood you. I will report this to headquarters and officially reinstate your rank 1 Beast Appraiser qualifications, Tan Lin said with her head lowered as she stepped forward. Feeling embarrassed, she only hoped to make it up to Lin Jin. Lin Jin smiled. No need. Tan Lin panicked. Thinking that Lin Jin was still blaming her, she quickly looked up and said, Lin Jin, I misunderstood you that night. I made a mistake, so I must make it right. You've been stripped of your qualification as a beast appraiser. Even if you take the exam again, you might not be able to pass. There's really no need for that. Lin Jin waved. Tan Lin grew even more anxious. Even if you don't forgive me, you have to think for yourself. Restoring your qualifications as a rank 1 beast appraiser is something I should do. It's what you deserve. Exasperated, Lin Jin mused, why is this woman so stubborn? I've already said no. After giving it some thought, Lin Jin had no choice but to tell the truth. Appraiser Tan, you've misunderstood me. I didn't take what happened that night to heart. As for my rank 1 beast appraiser qualification, I've already passed it again, so there's no need to restore it. He passed. This time, it was Tan Lin's turn to be surprised. That's impossible. The rank 1 beast appraiser's official exam is judged by the association's administrative elder. No matter how fast it is, the results can't be out on the same day. Tan Lin was clearly very familiar with the Beast Appraisal Association's operations. At this time, a voice said, unless the elder of the management office passes the interview on the spot. Following the voice, Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association's management office's elder Du walked out with his hands behind his back. Behind him trailed his pet beast, the nimble monkey. The monkey was currently holding a wooden tray with examination papers on it. Elder Du, Brother Du, everyone bowed to Elder Du when they saw him. Even Elder Mo and Tan Sun were very polite to Elder Du. Brother Tan, you look good. Elder Du chuckled. Among the 3 elders of the association, Nen Gongxian was the least experienced. Relatively speaking, Elder Mo and Elder Du were much more senior, especially Elder Du back in the day. He served as a teaching instructor at headquarters and was highly respected. Although he had always been a rank 2 beast appraiser, his abilities were no different from a rank 3 beast appraisers. Usually, Elder Du kept a low profile. He was in charge of the management office and was in charge of the examinees every year. Whether they could pass the rank 1 beast appraiser exam was up to him. Brother Du, Appraiser Lin is... Tansen already knew what was going on, but he still had to ask. Elder Du nodded. I verified Lin Jin's test paper on the spot and gave him full marks, so I let him pass. Appraiser Tan Lin, what I did wasn't against the rules, was it? Taken aback, Tan Lin quickly shook her head. Elder Du is an elder in charge of the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser exam. Since you gave him full marks, of course it wasn't against the rules. Wait a minute, full marks? Tan Lin's eyes widened in disbelief when she realized what was going on. Elder Du nodded. Full marks. Elder Du had long heard about Lin Jin being forced to retake the exam. Since he was already impressed by Lin Jin, he went to check on Lin Jin's test paper today. The results were shocking to him. Lin Jin used less than half the time the others took to perfectly appraise 10 types of beasts. The evaluation report he produced could even be called an exemplary work with no flaws to be found. There were no flaws, and the evaluation report was comprehensive. Hence, he marked the test paper on the spot and gave Lin Jin full marks, allowing him to pass the exam. No one was too surprised that Lin Jin was able to pass the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser certification after participating in the exam. After all, Lin Jin's abilities were obvious. However, passing with full marks was a little too much. At this moment, everyone was astounded. It was rare for a Beast Appraiser to get full marks in a Beast Appraiser's exam. After all, it was impossible to be 100% certain every time. Moreover, it was difficult to achieve a perfect grasp of attributes and bloodlines. If the evaluation report used words like perhaps, possibly, or inferred, it would be impossible to get full marks. This was the rule. Unless all the evaluation results were described with certainty and the actual situation was the same as the evaluation report, only then would a perfect score be given. It was easy to get full marks for one evaluation report, but it was impossible to get full marks for 10 evaluation reports. At least, it was impossible in their opinion. Tan Sun was obviously shocked as well. He glanced at Elder Du and mused. Could Elder Du be related to Lin Jin in some way? Is he his junior? Why else would he take such good care of him? Seeing this, Elder Du knew that the crowd wasn't convinced, so he said, I knew you guys wouldn't believe me. You might even be wondering if Lin Jin had given me some benefits, or if he's my distant relative, and that's why I'm taking such good care of him. Forget it, I brought his answers. If you don't believe me, you can read it for yourselves. Having said that, he turned to his pet beast. The little monkey immediately walked over with a wooden tray and placed it on the stone table. Tan Sun and Tan Lin were the first to step forward and flip through the answers. The others followed suit, including Nin Gongxian and Gao Jiang. Nin Gongxian couldn't save Wang Ji from falling off his horse, and he didn't want to either. As for himself, he didn't directly oppress Lin Jin, so he wasn't afraid of being blamed. As for Gao Jiang, he didn't directly oppress Lin Jin either. However, neither of them believed that Lin Jin could finish evaluating 10 beasts in less than half the time of the others. Not only that, he could even write a perfect evaluation report and receive full marks. Even if they were to take the exam now, they might not be able to do it. Hence, they gathered around to pick out some flaws to prove their hypothesis, to prove that Lin Jin wasn't as crazy as he claimed. Out of the 10 evaluation reports, each person picked one up. No one made a sound after reading through them. They were all captivated by the contents of the reports and immersed themselves in them. Even Tan Sun was nodding as he read. Before he knew it, he had finished reading one answer. His theory is solid and his analysis is comprehensive. He didn't even miss out on a single detail. I can't find any flaws. I can't find any flaws at all. Having said that, he picked up another one. No matter how much Tan Sun admired Lin Jin, he didn't believe that Lin Jin could receive full marks. Even Tan Sun himself had several flaws in his exam back then, so he didn't receive full marks. However, when he finished reading the second evaluation report, it was just as perfect. There wasn't a single flaw that he thought was wrong. Even if he were to write an evaluation report now, he would probably reach this standard. By now, Tan Sun was truly shocked. Refusing to believe it, he picked up the third evaluation report. Tinlin only skimmed through one before stopping. All she knew was that even she couldn't produce such a comprehensive evaluation report. As the saying went, seeing a single leaf reveals the coming of autumn. She was convinced. Chapter 82. As for Nan Gongxian and Gao Jiang, their expressions darkened. Even if he didn't think highly of Lin Jin and even viewed him as an enemy, he had to admit that Lin Jin's evaluation report was indeed worthy of full marks. Gao Jiang, in particular, was gritting his teeth as his fingers trembled. He had always looked down on Lin Jin, assuming the latter to be inferior to him. But to think that Lin Jin had hidden his abilities so well. Now that he had succeeded, he was able to shine so brightly. Even a young genius appraiser like him from Maple City paled in comparison to Lin Jin. He was obviously indignant. Deep down, he still thought that Lin Jin was just lucky and that the latter's true abilities were beneath his. However, the evaluation report in his hand shattered his arrogance. It fell to the ground and was even stomped on a few times. Gao Jiang found it hard to breathe under the immense pressure. Tan Sun glanced at Lin Jin and nodded. Elder Du's assessment is correct. These 10 evaluation reports are indeed full marks. Those who hadn't seen the papers gasped upon hearing this. And now, even appraiser Tan Sun had admitted it. Nan Gongxian remained silent, while Gao Jiang lowered his head in silence. The truth was right before their eyes. Now, no one doubted Lin Jin's skills anymore. This appraiser Lin is truly amazing. I heard that Wang Ji made things difficult for him and even delayed him for a long time. He only entered the exam after it started. Amazing. I'll definitely call appraiser Lin tomorrow and beg him to appraise my pet beast. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Liao Gu came over and patted Lin Jin's shoulder with a smile. This old man is in a good mood today. Meng Zhong, appraiser Tan, I'll be personally cooking today. Let's have a good drink. Elder Du suddenly chuckled. Master Chef Liao, you might have to wait a little longer. Lin Jin has other important matters to attend to. What else could be more important than eating? Also, hasn't the truth been revealed and Lin Jin's qualifications have been restored? Liao Gu was puzzled. Lin Jin smiled as well. Master Chef Liao, I still have an exam later. An exam? This time, it wasn't just Liao Gu. Everyone else was shocked as well. Since he had passed the official Beast Appraiser's examination with full marks, this meant that Lin Jin had regained his qualifications as a Rank 1 Beast Appraiser. What else was there to take? Only Tan Sun seemed to have realized something as he stared at Lin Jin in shock. Without beating around the bush, Elder Du said, Lin Jin has officially applied to participate in the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser qualification exam together with Gao Jiang. I've reported this to headquarters. Judging by the time, the Rank 3 Beast Appraiser in charge of invigilating the exam should be arriving soon. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Rank 2 Beast Appraisal Qualification Examination? Did he hear wrongly? Nan Gongxian frowned while Gao Jiang abruptly looked up at Lin Jin, clenching his fists so tightly that his veins popped. What he feared the most had happened. Right at this moment, an eagle's cry could be heard from afar. Following that, a giant eagle flew across the sky, circled once, and quickly descended. The astral wind whistled. Anyone with a bit of knowledge would recognize that this giant eagle was specially raised to carry people and goods. However, it was not something that ordinary people could afford. There was a man standing on the back of the eagle. This man looked to be in his 30s with a cold expression. He carried a wooden box on his back. On this man's shoulder was a strange pet beast, a cloud snake. According to the Encyclopedia of Beasts, snakes had wings and crowns on their heads. They were known as cloud snakes. Cloud snakes were born with intelligence and could spit venomous lightning. Lightning, wood, and wind attributes were one. No doubt, cloud snakes were rare beasts. It wasn't easy to form a blood pact with them, and they had great potential. At the sight of this man, Tan Lin frowned while Tan Sun smiled. Oh, it's Yu Mantang. Elder Du said, Yu Mantang? Could he be the newly promoted Rank 3 Beast Appraiser from headquarters? Tan Sun nodded. Just then, the man on the eagle leaped down and invoked a spell. The eagle immediately soared into the clouds. If needed, he could summon it back with a corresponding spell. This scene made many people's blood boil as they mused. This is what you call cool. Including Lin Jin. He was drooling at the sight of the eagle, musing that if he had the chance, he would definitely get his hands on one. With that, it would be much more convenient for him to go out in the future. Where is Elder Du of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association? Yumontan's expression was cold as he raised his head and asked arrogantly. However, when he saw Tan Sun and Tan Lin, his eyes lit up and he went up to greet them. "Greetings, Master Tan." Tan Sun nodded with a smile. "Linner, I heard you came to Maple City, so I took up this invigilating job. I didn't expect to meet you here," Yumantang said with a hint of flattery in his voice. Tan Lin's reaction was rather indifferent as she bowed. "Greetings, appraiser you. There's no need to be so polite between us." After saying that, Yumantang realized that there were too many people around, so he let out a dry cough and regained his stern demeanor. "Master Tan, I'm here to invigilate Maple City's examination. Once I'm done, I'll pay my respects to you." Having said that, Yumantang turned to the crowd. "Where is Elder Du?" Elder Du stepped forward. "Elder Du, I've been ordered to invigilate the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser Qualification Examination. Where are examinees Lin Jin and Gao Jiang?" After Yumantang said that, Elder Du beckoned for Lin Jin and Gao Jiang to come over. "Gao Jiang, I know you. Although you didn't pass last year, your answers were decent. Work harder this year, and you might stand a chance," Yumantang said when he saw Gao Jiang. Then, he turned to Lin Jin with a frown. This Lin Jin looked even younger than Gao Jiang. To Yumantang, the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's examination wasn't child's play. Although the examinees weren't too old, they weren't this young either. The man before him looked to be around 7 to 8 years younger than him, and he was planning to take the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's examination. However, Yumantang didn't say much. The Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's examination was different from the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's examination. The examinees had to go through a preliminary examination, and the supervising elders were in charge of the examination. "Elder Du, can I trouble you to find a quiet venue so that we can invigilate together?" Yumantang instructed. The Beast Appraisal Association had its own designated venue for this. The Rank 2 Beast Appraiser Qualification Examination was a serious affair. Hence, only examinees Lin Jin and Gao Jiang, as well as invigilators Yumantang and Elder Du, were in the hall. Yumantang announced the rules formally. Having said that, he took out a practice beast from the wooden box he brought with him. A beast imitation talisman was sealed inside this practice beast. Not even Yumantang, the invigilator, knew what kind of beast amulet it was. This was the rule. The content of the examination would be decided by the elders of headquarters. Once the decision was made, it would be sealed inside the practice beast and brought to the examinees. At the same time, the examinees would write an answer sealed with a spell to be used for grading after the examination. Just then, someone came in. It was Tan Sun. "Master Tan, what are you doing?" Yumantang asked. Tan Sun answered, "I'm here to take on the role of invigilator. This isn't against headquarters rules." Indeed, a Rank 3 Beast Appraiser could invigilate the examination with the permission of the other invigilators. Tan Sun had a high status, and Yumantang used to be a student. Now that he wanted to invigilate the examination, Yumantang had no reason to refuse. Next, the doors were shut, the windows were locked, and the examination officially began. Chapter 83. It wasn't surprising that Gao Jiang was participating in the advancement exam. He had taken the exam last year but didn't pass, so he was taking it again this year. However, the crowd outside had differing opinions about Lin Jin immediately taking the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's examination right after he passed the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's examination. Zhao Ying, Lu Xiaoyun, and Han Dong clenched their fists and cheered for Lin Jin. They felt that Lin Jin was qualified and capable of becoming a Rank 2 Beast Appraiser. Liao Gu and Gu Mengzhong shared the same opinion. Liao Gu had witnessed Goldie's advancement, so he knew that Lin Jin's knowledge was extraordinary. On the other hand, Gu Mengzhong's thoughts were simpler. He had traveled the world in search of famous beast appraisers, hoping to find a way to form a blood pact with an ink monster, but to no avail. Lin Jin just happened to be able to help him. Hence, to Gu Mengzhong, Lin Jin's advancement to Rank 2 was a well-deserved one. Of course, there were also those who didn't believe it. This Lin Jin is young and full of vigor. It's inevitable for him to get carried away after achieving some results. While it's true that he has some unique insights in beast evaluation and treatment, and his skills are indeed extraordinary, it doesn't mean he can become a rank 2 beast appraiser. Every beast appraiser who managed to advance in rank has to go through a long period of accumulation and consolidation. It's not something that can be achieved on a whim. Comparatively speaking, I think Gao Jiang will do better. Nan Gongxian was the first to speak. As one of the elders of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association, he had the right to say such words. He used to look down on Lin Jin. Even after Lin Jin's sudden rise to power and the support of various big shots, Nan Gongxian still looked down on him. To him, there was no way Lin Jin could have improved so quickly, unless someone was helping him in the dark. Nan Gongxian felt that if Lin Jin had improved by leaps and bounds recently, it must be because someone was helping him. And that person must be Elder Du. As for appraising the mutant egg, Elder Du might have helped Lin Jin in the dark. Otherwise, how could Lin Jin possibly do it alone? Elder Du can't be the sole invigilator for the Rank 2 Beast Appraisal exam. That appraiser you from headquarters is clearly an upright and plain-spoken man. Just watch. I refuse to believe that you, Lin Jin, can pass. Perhaps you just want to participate in the exam to increase the topic. Inside the hall, Yu Mantang undid the beast talisman seal on the training beast. In the next moment, the practice beast began to glow and transform. In just a moment, it had turned into a dragon beast. Its body was more than 20 feet long. Its scales were like well-tempered steel. It had the horns of a rhinoceros, the body of a snake, the claws of an eagle, the tail of a sparrow, the eyes of a fierce tiger, and the teeth of a fierce crocodile. Under the effect of the beast talisman, the practice beast transformed into a dragon beast. Lin Jin, Gao Jiang, you have 2 hours. Both of you will appraise and write an evaluation report. You must know that this isn't a Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's exam. The Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's exam is much stricter, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it's harsh. The evaluation report must also comply with the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's rules. Yu Mantang had a solemn expression on his face. In his opinion, this errand was a waste of time, especially when he saw Headquarters Elder's assessment topic on this dragon beast. He understood that this was one of the most difficult Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's assessment topics. Many beast appraisers had come to the conclusion that if an appraiser encountered a dragon beast at Rank 2, they would have to work harder next year. This meant that if they were unlucky and encountered a dragon beast, they would basically fail the appraisal. Only those with relatively easy questions would be able to pass them. Yu Mantang sympathized with Lin Jin and Gao Jiang, musing that Headquarters Elder was too harsh with his assessment. Why did he have to give them the most difficult questions right off the bat? Even Elder Du and Tan Sun frowned when they saw the simulated dragon beast, let alone him. Elder Du let out a sigh. It was common knowledge in the beast appraiser community that it was difficult to advance when encountering a dragon. It would be easier if it were any other beast, but dragons belong to a very unique branch of beast appraisers. They could even form their own system. To appraise it within 2 hours and write an evaluation report that met the standards of a Rank 2 beast appraiser was simply too difficult. Whether it was Lin Jin or Gao Jiang, it was an impossible task. Gao Jiang paled at the sight of the dragon beast, his confidence waning. On the other hand, Lin Jin's expression remained unchanged. Lin Jin, Gao Jiang, just do your best, Tan Sun said. Gao Jiang rushed forward and began using every means available to appraise the beast. He even brought along some rare appraisal tools. It was obvious that Gao Jiang was struggling. His forehead was already drenched in sweat. Lin Jin waited until Gao Jiang was done before stepping forward. To him, it didn't matter which beast it was. The Museum of Deadly Beasts would solve all his problems anyway. He walked over and reached out to touch it. Inside the museum, the condensed specimen and the stone tablet that had been appraised appeared at the same time. The dragon beast was naturally one of the rare beasts. Rank 2 Rare Beast, Imperial Dragon. Its beast attribute is metal, fire, and wind. Potential rate 3. Ancestral bloodline. Contains the coiling dragon, water dragon, and jade dragon bloodlines. There are 7 ways to activate the bloodline. There are 8 obstructed meridians in its body. They are. The treatment method is there are 2 ways to activate a dragon's evolution and 4 ways to evolve it. Every single line was written clearly and clearly. Lin Jin could have just copied it, but that would be too eye-catching. There are 3 people watching him. After all, to others, if he were to just write it out, the appraisal would be too fast. If it was too abnormal, people would definitely notice. Lin Jin preferred to keep a low profile. He preferred to make a fortune in silence. Hence, he had put on a good act and stall for time. Then, he recalled the beast appraisal methods he learned from the museum and began practicing them. The museum taught many beast appraisal methods, and Lin Jin had seen them before. But the one he had the time to study was the Shi Huang observation technique. Back in the days, this Shi Huang observation technique was a compulsory subject in beast appraiser school. All beast appraisers had to learn it. It was just that the depth of learning was different. Shi Huang observation technique originated from a rank 9 beast appraiser named Ma Shi Huang thousands of years ago. He was the one who created the technique. The observation technique included observing the beast, observing its fur, touching its bones, detecting its aura, distinguishing its scent, assimilating its spirit, and touching its soul. It was said that there were a total of 36 chapters in Shi Huang observation technique. But over the years, many chapters have been lost. Only 24 of them remained. Among them, there were 16 upper chapters and 8 lower chapters. What was taught in the school, or rather, what most beast appraisers were exposed to, were the 8 lower chapters. Even so, there were only a few who could learn the remaining 8 chapters and fully comprehend them. Someone once said that one could appraise beasts after learning 3 of Shi Huang's chapters. In other words, one could appraise beasts after learning 3 chapters. One could imagine how amazing this Shi Huang observation technique was. The Shi Huang observation technique that Lin Jin saw in the Museum of Deadly Beasts was a complete set of 36 chapters. Other than that, there were also detailed explanations. Even if he only studied it a little, he could write a complete evaluation report on his own without the Museum of Deadly Beasts' help. Chapter 84. Lin Jin was currently using the method he learned from Shi Huang's observation method to appraise the beast. Of course, Lin Jin didn't actually learn all 36 chapters of Shi Huang's observation method, but he wasn't afraid. If he ran into any problems, he could just flip through the books in the museum. I remember that there's a detailed record of dragon beast appraisals. There's even a specific method. Lin Jin mumbled to himself before closing his eyes. While others might think that he was deep in thought, he was actually reading through the books in the museum. Gao Jiang was already writing his evaluation report, while Lin Jin had yet to finish appraising the beast. Among the 3 invigilators, Elder Du's heart skipped a beat when he saw Lin Jin deep in thought. It seems like this rank 2 beast appraiser's assessment is a little too difficult for Lin Jin. Although he's knowledgeable, he's still lacking in experience. If he were to train for another 2 years, he might even be able to pass the dragon exam easily. Tan Sun had the same thought. However, he knew Lin Jin's theory of appraising mutant eggs. If Lin Jin wanted to write an evaluation report on a dragon beast, it should be fine. It all depended on the quality of the report. If it wasn't up to standard, Lin Jin wouldn't pass. Maybe I'll have to find a way to talk to Yu Mantang about this. Just treat it as a favor to Lin Jin. As for Yu Mantang, his thoughts were even simpler. He didn't think Lin Jin could pass. That Gao Jiang might still stand a chance. Lin Jin flipped to a chapter in the Museum of Deadly Beasts and said, "I got it." Chapter 21 of Shi Huang's observation method contained an appraisal method specifically for dragon beasts. There were also some spells and spirit seals to complement it. Flipping through the book, Lin Jin wrote down the corresponding dragon beast appraisal spirit seal. After practicing for a while, he exited the Museum of Deadly Beasts. Watching as Gao Jiang got up and walked over to the simulated dragon, Elder Du, Tan Sun, Yu Mantang yawned while Gao Jiang continued writing away. Then, Lin Jin took out a spirit stone, held it in his palm, and began casting the beast appraisal spirit seal. As the saying went, the expert knows the ropes. None of the three invigilators were mediocre. Two of them were rank 3 beast appraisers, while the other was a rank 2 beast appraiser. All of them were experienced and knowledgeable. The moment Lin Jin cast the spirit seal, the trio noticed. This is... Elder Du's eyes lit up. Tan Sun stroked his beard and said, Shi Huang Observing Art, Volume 21, Dragon Inspection Spirit Seal. Haha, interesting, interesting. Even Yuman Tang had his eyes wide open in disbelief. Only a rank 2 beast appraiser is capable of learning and mastering part 21 of Shi Huang's observation technique. How did Lin Jin learn it? He immediately looked at Elder Du. Could it be that Elder Du had imparted it to him? In Yuman Tang's opinion, this was the only possibility. None of the branch's libraries contained more than the 9th volume of Shi Huang's observing beast technique. Most of the books were either kept by appraisers themselves or borrowed from headquarters library. Yuman Tang immediately assumed that Lin Jin was Elder Du's disciple. Even Tan Sun had the same thought. After all, the knowledge contained in the first part of Shi Huang's animal observation technique wasn't something an average beast appraiser could learn. There must be a master behind it. Elder Du clearly had no idea that he had somehow become Lin Jin's mentor. The three of them continued to watch. This technique, although I'm not too familiar with it, it's exquisite. Yuman Tang immediately noticed another problem. He could tell that Lin Jin wasn't familiar with the spirit seal casting. It was as if he had just learned it not too long ago. There was an unfamiliarity to it, but Lin Jin was definitely taught by a master. There were many techniques that a newbie wouldn't know. Yuman Tang and Tan Sun stole another glance at Elder Du, musing, Elder Du is indeed capable. Lin Jin had no idea what they were thinking. He was either applying what he had learned or practicing the Dragon Inspection Spirit Seal. However, as it was his first time casting it, the Spirit Seal only lasted for a short while before it shattered. This was the result of inexperience. The most troublesome part was that Lin Jin realized that maintaining this spirit seal consumed a large amount of spirit energy. He had very little spirit energy, so he had to use spirit stones. The previous one had already been depleted of spirit energy and turned into a regular stone. Helpless, he took out another one. This time, he managed to maintain it for a longer period of time, but he still failed. He had to try harder. It wasn't until he used the 5th spirit stone that the spirit seal was completed. Through the spirit seal, the dragon's attribute and bloodline were appraised. Next, he observed the beast and felt its bones. He wasn't familiar with the technique, but his technique was experienced as if he had been taught by an expert. The three invigilators could tell this. Elder Du was surprised too. Little did he know that he had been made a scapegoat by an expert. After appraising the beast step by step, he dipped his brush in ink and began writing an evaluation report. By now, half of the examination time had passed. Gao Jiang had already written 3 pages of evaluation report. If the previous appraisal technique only showed that Lin Jin had been taught by an expert, then this evaluation report could test a beast appraiser's abilities. After all, techniques were just techniques. The key was to be able to tell the result from the technique alone. In this regard, Lin Jin's performance was commendable. After writing half a page, Tan Sun sneaked over to take a look. His heart skipped a beat, and he had an idea. If nothing goes wrong, Lin Jin's advancement is a done deal. This was Tan Sun's conclusion. However, he kept this thought to himself and didn't say it out loud. After all, the true invigilator here was Yuman Tang. Despite his seniority, he couldn't steal the limelight. 15 minutes before the end of the examination, Lin Jin finished writing the last word of his evaluation report. Gao Jiang put down his brush as well. Both of them finished at the same time. They handed in their papers. Lin Jin, Gao Jiang, both of you wait outside. The results will be announced shortly. Yuman Tang waved his hand. Lin Jin and Gao Jiang bowed and left the room. Yuman Tang picked up the evaluation report and judged it together with Tan Sun and Elder Du. They looked at Gao Jiang's evaluation report first. After a careful evaluation, all 3 of them shook their heads. although there were some noteworthy aspects, and it was considered an excellent work for a rank 1 beast appraiser. It was still quite a distance away from advancing into a rank 2 beast appraiser. All three of them agreed on this point. Next, they looked at Lin Jin's evaluation report. All three of them were impressed. Even Yu Mantang was nodding to himself. Lin Jin's evaluation report had its flaws. At least of the three of them, there was still room for improvement. However, if they were to treat it as a rank 2 beast appraiser's evaluation report, it definitely met the standard. In fact, it even exceeded the standard by quite a bit. Compared to Gao Zhang's evaluation report, it was much better. Appraiser Yu, what do you think? Elder Du suddenly asked. Yu Mantang mused. What else can I think? This Lin Jin is clearly your disciple. Why are you asking this on purpose? What's the point? Yu Mantang didn't give his evaluation immediately. Instead, he asked Tan Sun, Master Tan, please give your evaluation first. Tan Sun smiled. Let's start with Gao Zhang's evaluation report. There are flaws in his theory, which shows that his basic knowledge isn't up to standard. On the other hand, Lin Jin's evaluation report is very compatible with the dragon simulation. His theory is solid, his appraisal method is clear, and he has a lot of skills and experience. In my opinion, it's an excellent work and he should pass. He was speaking the truth. Putting aside the fact that Lin Jin was his daughter's benefactor, even if he wasn't, as a fair appraiser, Tan Sun would still say the same. Elder Du, what do you think? Tan Sun asked. However, he felt like this question was unnecessary. Sure enough, with a straight face, Elder Du said, I too think Gao Zhang's evaluation report is slightly lacking. As for Lin Jin's evaluation report, it's enough to pass the rank 2 assessment. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. In terms of beast appraising knowledge, I'm no match for both of you. The final decision will still be made by both of you. It was supposed to be a serious response, but to Yu Mantang and Tan Sun, it sounded pretentious. It was like someone praising your child, and you were obviously happy, but you had to act like you didn't care. That was how Elder Du behaved in their eyes. Although Yu Mantang was arrogant, what was said. Because even he thought that Lin Jin's skills and evaluation report met the requirements to pass the examination. I agree, but this is only the preliminary evaluation. The final evaluation will still have to be sent back to headquarters for a final evaluation by the elders, Yu Mantang concluded. Although it was technically a final evaluation, under such circumstances, there was a 99% chance that Lin Jin would pass. The three of them signed their names on the preliminary evaluation column. Chapter 85. Lin Jin and Gao Jiang waited outside. Gao Jiang wore an arrogant expression, still ignoring Lin Jin. Of course, Lin Jin couldn't be bothered with Gao Jiang either. Lin Jin was full of confidence for this assessment. The evaluation report he wrote took a long time, mainly because he had to think of a way to cut down on the content. After all, he couldn't possibly write everything on the museum stone tablet. If he did, the three invigilators would probably explode in anger. He had to keep a low profile. Soon, Lin Jin and Gao Jiang were called in to learn the results. Gao Jiang's face was pale, and his fingers were trembling. It wasn't because he didn't pass. He knew he was still lacking in this advancement exam. He only participated in it to gain more experience and knowledge. But why? Why? Could Lin Jin pass? He couldn't figure it out. Flames of jealousy began to burn in his heart. Lin Jin pretended to be surprised and happy as he thanked the invigilators. Just as he expected, he passed the first round. Although there was still a final round, it shouldn't be a big problem based on usual practice. When the time comes, headquarters would send him the rank 2 beast pattern sleeve band to officially grant him his qualifications. Before that, Lin Jin was still a rank 1 beast appraiser. Appraiser Tan Sun and the others had other matters to attend to, so Lin Jin came out. Gao Jiang left on his own in a daze. Noticing that Zhao Ying and the others were still waiting outside, Lin Jin announced the results without holding back. Of course, Zhao Ying, Lu Xiaoyun, and the others cheered as if they were the ones who passed. Tan Lin was stunned as well. Although she knew Lin Jin would try his best to pass the rank 2 beast appraiser's exam, She was still in disbelief when she heard the results. As for Nan Gongxian, he had long left. When Lin Jin announced the results, Nan Gongxian's expression darkened, and he snuck away without a word. If he didn't leave, was he supposed to stay here and embarrass himself? Previously, Nan Gongxian had been so sure that Lin Jin wouldn't pass the assessment. But this slap in the face came too soon. As for Gao Jiang, he locked himself in his room and refused to leave. He was so angry that he couldn't eat. He was jealous and indignant. How did Lin Jin pass? Since when did he become so impressive? Many people had the same question on their minds. But the truth was the truth. Since Liao Gu was in charge of cooking, they naturally had a big meal to celebrate. As for Tan Lin, she walked into the association in search of her father, Tan Sun. She saw her father standing in front, seemingly lost in thought or waiting for someone. At this moment, Elder Du walked out with a baffled look on his face, followed by Yumantang. Elder Du, why do you have to be so stubborn? I just want to ask you about the technique of using the spirit seals in the 21st volume of Shi Huang's Observing Beast technique. Why do you have to keep me at arm's length? Besides, I've already made it very clear that I won't ask for your guidance for free. I'll teach you the technique that I've comprehended myself. The one who spoke was Yumantang. Elder Du looked helpless. Appraiser Yu, my understanding of the 21st chapter of Shi Huang's beast observation technique is limited as well. Why are you suddenly asking me for guidance? You're a rank 3 beast appraiser, and I'm only a rank 2 beast appraiser. I should be the one asking for guidance. Yumantang was extremely dissatisfied. Wasn't this just an excuse? Why was this old man Du so stubborn when he was asking for guidance so sincerely? Did Yumantang insist that Lin Jin was his apprentice? Did Yumantang have to explain that he wanted to learn Lin Jin's seal technique? How embarrassing would that be? Even Yumantang was seeing Lin Jin's technique for the first time. His curiosity was piqued as he watched, eager to learn the key to the technique. Since he was certain that Lin Jin's skill was taught by Elder Du, Yumantang couldn't help but want to learn it by exchanging techniques. To think that Elder Du would deny it outright. This was outrageous. Yumantang wanted to say something, but when he saw Tan Sun and Tan Lin, he immediately shut his mouth. He obviously didn't want them to see him asking for guidance, so he flung his sleeve angrily, turned around, and left. Linner, wait for me outside. I have something to say to Elder Du. Tan Sun finally had the chance to send Tan Lin away. Tan Lin was puzzled, but she had no choice but to leave. Elder Du came over, feeling aggrieved. Brother Tan, I don't know why Yumantang insisted on asking me to teach him the 21st chapter of Shi Huang's observation technique. I don't know what he's thinking. Tan Sun nodded. Brother Du, I understand. You don't have much of a relationship with him, so how could you impart techniques to him so easily? Then, he changed the topic and whispered, but we do have a deep friendship. Back when you were at headquarters, we learned from each other. It's so nostalgic. Let's get down to business. You have to tell me about the 21st chapter of Shi Huang's observation techniques, spirit seal application. Elder Du was speechless. In Jiaqian's consultation hall in the Beast Appraisal Association, she would take part in the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's assessment every year. But strangely, it felt like a curse. Every time she took the exam, she would always be a little bit away from passing. In last year's exam, she was only 1 point away from passing and becoming an official Rank 1 Beast Appraiser. That was the closest she had ever been to becoming an official Beast Appraiser. It felt like she could reach it just by stretching out her hand. But somehow, it felt like fate was playing a joke on her. No matter how hard she struggled, she would always miss the opportunity once again. This year, the stubborn Jiaqian decided to take the exam too. After she passed the exam, she heard about Wang Ji's dismissal as chief. Other than that, she also learned about Lin Jin. After Lin Jin's qualifications were revoked, he managed to pass the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's exam again. She couldn't describe how she felt. In the past, she could still lie to herself and say that Lin Jin was lucky. But how could she explain it now? Especially when she found out that Lin Jin scored full marks in the Rank 1 Beast Appraiser's exam. She didn't even realize she was biting her lip until blood dripped down from the corner of her mouth. Now, it was impossible for her to rely on recommendations to get promoted. Now that Wang Ji had been fired, headquarters would surely investigate the matter thoroughly. Based on what she knew, Wang Ji had done many things that violated Beast Appraiser's code of conduct during his tenure as chief. If one or two of these things were found out, Wang Ji would never be able to make a comeback in this life. Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, Jia Qian felt lost. Perhaps the only fortunate thing was that she had been protecting her all this while preventing that old pervert Wang Ji from taking advantage of her. Soon, news of Lin Jin passing the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's exam reached her ears. Rank 2 Beast Appraiser? Jia Qian slumped into a chair. As if struck by lightning, her mind went blank. She didn't even have the strength to get up. Lin Jin opened his eyes in a daze. The first thing he saw was the house he had just renovated. When did I get home? Lin Jin rubbed his eyes and invoked a brain-clearing spell to clear his mind. Now, he remembered that Master Chef Liao had told him to make things clear. Not only did he cook a table full of delicacies, but he had also brought out his precious bottle of aged wine, saying that it was soaked in spirit ginseng and that it was very nutritious. In the end, Lin Jin was forced to drink by the two old men, Liao Gu and Gu Mengzhou. Footsteps could be heard outside. Lin Jin looked up to see Han Dong carrying a basin of water in. Master Lin, I heard the commotion and knew you were awake. Here, wipe your face. Han Dong dipped the water into a towel and handed it to Lin Jin respectfully. How long have I been asleep? Lin Jin wiped his face, feeling more awake. Chapter 86. Han Dong told Lin Jin that when they came back from lunch, they had only slept for less than 4 hours and the sky was still bright. Lin Jin nodded. Where are Master Gu and Master Chef Liao? Lin Jin asked. They said they had something to attend to, so they left first. After Han Dong said that, Lin Jin had Han Dong bring him his needle pouch. Then, using the pulse-seeking technique, he pricked a few acupoints on his body. In an instant, his blood vessels were smoothed out, his organs strengthened, and the smell of alcohol was expelled. Master Chef Liao's wine is amazing. Lin Jin still had lingering fear on his face. He had no idea how Master Chef Liao brewed his aged wine. Also, the spirit ginseng soaked in it was so amazing that it went straight to his head after just a few cups. But it wasn't without its benefits. At the very least, Lin Jin could sense a strong spirit energy from that aged wine. It was clearly beneficial to his body. Now that he was using the pulse-seeking technique, he could store a portion of this spirit energy in his veins to strengthen himself. The pulse-seeking technique rewarded by the Museum of Deadly Beasts could be used to treat illnesses and save lives. At the same time, it could also kill without leaving a trace. At a high level of cultivation, just a few needles could tame a ferocious beast and defeat a powerful enemy. Since Lin Jin had woken up, it wouldn't be nice to trouble Han Dong to take care of him. Speaking of which, Lin Jin was a heavy drinker. After he passed out, Zhao Ying and Lu Xiaoyan wanted to stay behind to take care of him. However, Han Dong was more considerate and said that men and women should be more respectful. If they stayed behind, people might start gossiping. Han Dong had thought this through thoroughly. After listening to Han Dong, Lin Jin mused, this Han Dong is a promising talent. After sending Han Dong away, Lin Jin returned to his yard. After a thorough renovation, the yard was much cleaner and more spacious than before. Lin Jin even had someone build a small beast pen, so it could accommodate many pet beasts. Previously, there was only Goldie and Xiaohua. Now, there was a shadow wolf. This shadow wolf was the owner of the so-called appraisal accident. After forming a blood pact with the shadow wolf, the owner assumed it to be a flawed and useless pet beast. Hence, he vented his anger on the pet beast. Not only did he beat it up, but he also starved it. In the morning, when Lin Jin activated the shadow wolf's bloodline, the wolf beast resorted to self-mutilation to break its blood pact and sever ties with its previous owner. That person reaped what he sowed, so he didn't deserve any sympathy. However, because a pet beast that used this method, no matter how good its bloodline was, it was still crippled. Currently, the shadow wolf had truly become a cripple. Breaking the blood contract was equivalent to destroying half of the meridians in one's body. Not only would one's strength plummet, it would also be impossible for one to advance. The shadow wolf was unwilling to follow its original owner, and the latter knew that he was in the wrong. So he sneaked away, effectively abandoning the pet beast once again. No matter how good his bloodline was, no one would be interested in him if he was crippled. Lin Jin had no choice but to bring it back. At the very least, this shadow wolf would have a place to stay and wouldn't starve to death outside. Lin Jin approached them. Goldie had gone off to play somewhere, while Xiaohua was lying nearby. When he saw Lin Jin approaching, he immediately went over. The shadow wolf was still covered in blood, and it was difficult for him to get up. At this, Lin Jin went over and patted the shadow wolf's head. Breaking the blood contract is not child's play. You're being too impulsive. You should know that many pet beasts who break their blood contracts will die on the spot. You're lucky to be alive. Whether he was truly lucky or not, only Lin Jin knew. Perhaps the seal Lin Jin used to activate the shadow wolf's bloodline this morning was the key to its survival. This time, Lin Jin reread the museum's appraisal results to see if there was a way to cure it. And it turned out that there really was. Although the shadow wolf was now half dead and completely crippled, the Museum of Deadly Beasts didn't have a pet beast that was completely crippled. As long as it was still breathing, there was a way to cure it. Now, Lin Jin saw more than one method to cure it. However, most of the methods required precious herbs. Not only were some herbs rare, but they were also unobtainable at this stage of the game. Hence, Lin Jin browsed through them and found a method that only required an energy-gathering pill and the pulse-seeking technique. He was ready to give it a try. The main point of this method was the pulse-seeking technique. Lin Jin finally realized how important this technique was. After mastering it, the museum had expanded the number of beast appraising, healing, and even taming methods. Besides that, the Shi Huang observation technique he learned previously also had a similar effect. I'm responsible for your suffering, so let's cure it for you. Lin Jin caressed the shadow wolf's head. The latter was a little weak, but it still raised its head and rubbed against Lin Jin's palm as a sign of affection. Done as soon as he said it, Lin Jin took out his needles and a small bottle of energy-gathering pills. He fed them to the shadow wolf before starting the acupuncture. The pulse-seeking technique wasn't an ordinary acupuncture technique. It could be used to shoot needles through the air. Lin Jin flicked his finger, and the needles were quickly inserted into the corresponding acupoints. This wasn't the essence of the pulse-seeking technique. The real essence was that the needles could be inserted directly into the body and travel along the veins. As long as the corresponding acupuncture technique was used, the needles could break out of the body. While this technique could be used to cure diseases, it could also be used to kill. The shadow wolf's problem was that its veins were too damaged. The pulse-seeking technique happened to be able to mend the damaged veins, but it was slightly more troublesome. Soon, Lin Jin's forehead was drenched in sweat. Performing the pulse-seeking technique was too mentally draining. However, Lin Jin didn't stop. If he stopped now, all his previous efforts would go to waste. Lin Jin performed several acupuncture techniques. Each time he did it, his spirit energy would be drained. One could imagine how painful it was to have the needles move through the body and mend the damaged veins. However, the shadow wolf's bones were tough. Despite the excruciating pain, it remained motionless and silent. Bear with it, it's almost done. Lin Jin flicked his finger again. With a flash of silver light, the needles were inserted into the shadow wolf's body. After a whole 2 hours, Lin Jin finally used the pulse-seeking technique to mend all the damaged veins in the shadow wolf's body. Almost at the same time, the shadow wolf finally reached its limit and fainted. Lin Jin wiped his sweat and took out the needles. Looking at the shadow wolf, he murmured, "After recuperating, your veins will be better than before." You might even be able to use this near-death experience to show signs of evolution. Once you evolve and your body is reforged, it's time for you to unleash your full potential. Who would have thought that the previously crippled shadow wolf would be healed under Lin Jin's treatment? After a few days of rest, it would be full of vigor again. If the previous owner knew about this, he would probably die of regret. But who could he blame? If the shadow wolf was crippled after the blood contract was broken, the owner could still apologize and take the initiative to mend their master-servant relationship. Perhaps the shadow wolf could still change its mind. But after learning that the shadow wolf was crippled, the owner sneaked away. People like him deserved to suffer losses. In the end, Lin Jin was the one who benefited. Although there was no blood contract, pet beasts were sentient and loyal. Just like Goldie, no one could command it except for Lin Jin. Chapter 87. After feeding the shadow wolf some more pills, Lin Jin left it alone. Now, the shadow wolf just needed to rest and recuperate. Through this experience, Lin Jin's understanding of the pulse-seeking technique had risen to a new level. Although the Museum of Deadly Beasts had all sorts of beast appraisal methods and rewarded acupuncture techniques, no matter how good they were, practice was still required. Only by tempering the connection over and over again could one truly digest and control it. Of this, there was no doubt. Next, Lin Jin planned to visit the association. It was for no other reason than to see if people would still point fingers at him when they saw him now. Of course they would, but they wouldn't be bad-mouthing him. Instead, they would be filled with admiration and admiration. Lin Jin didn't want to miss out on this opportunity to show off. In the past, people had always looked down on him. Now that he could finally hold his head up high, why wouldn't he go? He had to go back. Even if it was just one round, it would be worth it. However, before he could leave, Zukin stopped him. "Brother Lin, you've really done well today." Although Zukin was the young master of a prominent family, he didn't put on airs. Since he and Lin Jin got along well, they quickly became good friends. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dragged his father over to support Lin Jin this morning. More importantly, his father was initially reluctant, but when he returned, he cautiously told Zukin that he had to build a good relationship with Lin Jin. Needless to say, Zhu Tianhong could tell that Lin Jin had limitless potential. If he didn't befriend someone like him now, he would be out of his mind. "Brother Zhu, you're here. Come, follow me to the association first." Lin Jin was very enthusiastic. Zukin had brought someone to support him at a crucial time. Lin Jin was going to make a friend like this. "Don't." Zukin quickly waved his hand. "I'm here for something important, Brother Lin. Come with me." Having said that, he forcefully dragged Lin Jin down another path. Clearly, they weren't going to the Beast Appraisal Association. Along the way, Lin Jin learned that Zukin wanted him to participate in an event called the Maple Flower Festival. "I'm not interested." Lin Jin didn't want to go. It was better to show off at the association. Zukin hurriedly pulled him back. "Brother Lin, not just anyone can attend the Maple Flower Festival. Many people want to go, but they can't. Those who can attend are the dignitaries of Maple City. They're all people of high status. Moreover, we're not really going to admire the flowers. I'm not interested in that anyway. The main point is that there will be a pet beast auction at the flower festival. You know my family situation, we have a lot of people and we need a lot of pet beasts. This time, we're here to buy some pet beasts with good potential." Chapter 88. Zukin was getting angry. He knew who Qin Yuanyuan was. She had always been at odds with his sister, Zhu Yingying. She was the only daughter of Chun Medicine Hall's owner, Chun Wenlin. She had been spoiled since she was a child and was willful. Although Chun Medicine Hall couldn't compare to Maple City's major families like the Zhu, Gao, and Shi families, they weren't too far off. In terms of industry, Chun Medicine Hall was definitely the biggest and wealthiest. The only thing they lacked was a solid foundation. After all, the Qin family's ancestors were poor too. It was Chun Wenlin's ability that allowed them to support their family business. There were many people around, and as a man, Zhu King couldn't be bothered to argue with a woman like Chun Yuan in public. He flung his sleeve and said, "I can't be bothered to argue with a rude person like you." Having said that, Zhu King asked Lin Jin softly, "Brother Lin, do you have a grudge against her?" Lin Jin thought about it and shook his head. Back then, it was Chun Wen-lin who arranged the marriage between his predecessor and her. The Qin family was the one who wanted to call off the engagement. If there was a grudge, it was his predecessor who hated them. "Then how do you know her, Brother Lin?" Zhu King was puzzled. Well, it was hard for him to explain. Strictly speaking, this had nothing to do with him. "Let's go." Lin Jin thought there was something wrong with this woman's head. She was either crazy or crazy. Speaking of which, trying to reason with a lunatic was asking for trouble. He just had to stay away from her. However, Qin Yuan had no intention of letting it go. "Lin Jin, hold it right there. Tell me, what did your pet beast do to my General Might Wu? Ever since then, my General Might has been listless. Even the slightest movement would scare him, and he wouldn't be able to eat or sleep well. You must have done something to him. Do you think you can just keep quiet? If you don't explain yourself today, don't even think about leaving." Lin Jin really hadn't done anything last time. Recalling the incident, Lin Jin knew that Xiao Hua must have used some of his rank 3 Beast King aura to scare that seemingly strong, but actually weak main. But that was also because this woman was instructing her pet beast to hurt someone. Was he supposed to stand still and get bitten by the mane? The other party had been provoking him time and time again, and Lin Jin wasn't a pushover. It was true that she was a woman, but a woman could not be unreasonable endlessly. Lin Jin didn't want to provoke this crazy woman, but that didn't mean he was afraid of her. "Qin Yuan, you're unreasonable. First, you released your dog to bite me, but your pet beast failed to bite me and was frightened by my pet beast's aura. Who can you blame for that? Even so, you didn't reflect on it, and now you're provoking me and speaking disrespectfully." Chapter 89. Chun Yuan was about to lose her mind. Not only did the other party hit her, but he also said such infuriating words. Just then, a young man walked out from the door. This young man had an extraordinary air about him. Behind him was a purple-spotted snow leopard that exuded a domineering aura. On the young man's robes, there were 3 blood cloud patterns. Just like the Beast Appraisal Association, the Friar Association had a detailed hierarchy where one's strength spoke for themselves. In the Friar Association, upon reaching the first realm of blood contract, one could sow a blood cloud pattern. At the second realm, one could sow a second blood cloud pattern, and so on. With 3 blood cloud patterns on this young man's robes, one could tell his realm and status in the Friar Association. When he came out, Qin Yuan's eyes lit up at once. "Cousin brother, Yuan, what happened?" When a young man saw Chun Yuan with tears in her eyes, he immediately frowned and approached her. "Cousin brother, they bullied me. That Lin Jin and that woman beside him hit me." As if she had just been bullied, Qin Yuan complained to her parent. Insolence. The young man was furious. How dare someone bully his cousin's sister in the Friar Association's territory? They were clearly trying to embarrass him. After all, he was one of the top 5 members of the Friar Association's younger generation. "Lin Jin, you mean that useless beast appraiser who was engaged to you?" The young man obviously knew about what happened earlier. He sneered. He's just a rank 1 beast appraiser who rose to his current rank through sheer luck. Although he's an official beast appraiser, there's no way for him to advance. He's not even worth mentioning. I've been against your engagement with him ever since. Our Qin family may not be a prominent family, but we're not a family that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can claim. Qin Yuan had clearly found her backbone. Someone was backing her up. "Cousin brother, you have to help me get back at him. Right, this Lin Jin doesn't have an invitation, so we can't let him in. It doesn't matter who pleads on his behalf." Qin Yuan's eyes were once again filled with pride and arrogance. "Don't worry, I'll definitely help you get back at him." The young man patted the back of Qin Yuan's hand, enjoying the sensation. As for this beautiful cousin of his, he also had some thoughts in his heart. He immediately glared at Lin Jin. But soon he saw Lu Xiaoyan. Her heart skipped a beat. Lu Xiaoyan was Lu Yunhe's biological younger sister. She wasn't someone he could afford to offend. Lu Yunhe was already on the fourth realm, and his status was higher than his. Among the younger generation, Lu Yunhe was ranked top 3. Some even said that if Lu Yunhe's pet beast could evolve to rank 3, he would be on par with Maple City's Friar Association's #1 genius, Yang Jie. Compared to Lu Yunhe, he was still a little lacking. When he saw Lu Xiaoyan leaning on Lin Jin's shoulder intimately, he knew something was wrong. Chen Shun, I really want to see how you're going to help them vent their anger. Lu Yunhe walked over from the other side. In fact, he came with Lu Xiaoyan. However, when Chen Yuanyuan made a scene just now, it was not appropriate for a man to step in. At that time, it was best for Lu Xiaoyan to step in. He didn't come over from afar, but when he saw Chen Shun acting cool, he knew it was time for him to step in. Chen Shun was considered a prominent figure in the Friar Association. His mentor was quite impressive since he shared the same mentor as the #1 genius, Yang Jie. However, Chen Shun was only average. His blood contract was on the 3rd realm, his pet beast was ranked 2, and his talent and potential were above average. He was ranked below Lu Yunhe. For other matters, Lu Yunhe wouldn't mind giving Chen Shun some face. But for today's incident, it was impossible. Setting aside his sister's relationship with Lin Jin, Lu Yunhe himself still needed Lin Jin's help to evolve his pet beast. Hence, he had to stand on Lin Jin's side. Seeing that Lu Yunhe was here too, Chen Shun had a bad feeling about this. If he knew Lu Yunhe was involved in this, he would never have come out. But since he was here, he couldn't just keep quiet and not ask any questions. Senior Lu, what are you? Chen Shun started feigning ignorance. Lu Yunhe was straightforward. He walked up to Lin Jin and said, "The one who hit your sister is my sister. As for appraiser Lin, I was the one who invited him here. I forgot to bring the invitation. Let me ask you, which guest of mine would dare to refuse entry?" Lin Jin nodded. The last sentence was meant for the people guarding the door to hear. The gatekeepers had witnessed the entire process. When they saw Lu Yunhe step forward, they quickly said, "Since he's Senior Lu's guest, of course he can enter." Lu Yunhe nodded and did not make things difficult for these disciples who were guarding the door. Chen Shun chuckled dryly. He mused, this isn't going to be easy. Lu Yunhe is obviously trying to stand up for Lin Jin. In other words, forget about Lu Xiaoyan's assault. He couldn't even criticize Lin Jin anymore. Doing so would only offend Lu Yunhe. Chen Shun's mind worked quickly as he said, "It's probably just a misunderstanding. I still have things to take care of, so I won't disturb you any longer, Senior Lu." Having said that, he dragged the indignant Chen Yuanyuan away. Naturally, this farce came to an end. Lu Yunhe came over and glanced at Lu Xiaoyan. Only then did she realize that she was still holding onto Lin Jin's arm. She quickly let go, her face flushed red. "Brother, why didn't you come earlier?" Lu Xiaoyan was a shy girl, so she decided to shift the blame to her brother. Lu Yunhe was helpless. He knew that Lu Xiaoyan was just trying to help Lin Jin out of trouble. It was probably just an act. This task was originally assigned to Zhu Can, but Zhu Tianli suddenly interfered and used his seniority to pressure him. He was obviously trying to provoke Zhu Can so that he could use the young man's immaturity as an excuse to seize the purchasing rights. Purchasing pet beasts for the family was a big deal. If it was done well, Zhu Can would be honored. Of course, his father, Zhu Qianhong's reputation would rise as well, and vice versa. Hence, the purchasing rights couldn't be lost. Second uncle, let me introduce you as well. This is an official beast appraiser from the Beast Appraisal Association, appraiser Lin. I've invited him to appraise pet beasts for the family. Chapter 92. It would be impolite not to reciprocate. Zukin knew that he couldn't back down in this short battle. Since the other party had invited a so-called Master Beast Appraiser, Master Liao, he had to introduce Lin Jin as well. Zhu Tianli frowned, probably finding it a pity that Zukin had regained his composure and didn't fall for the trap. As for Lin Jin, Zhu Can's introduction wasn't beneath him at all. Appraiser Lin? I've never heard of him. Zhu Can, purchasing a pet beast for the family is a big deal. How can you treat it like a child's play? It would be fine if you invited Chief Wang or even Gao Jiang. But the Gao family is here to purchase pet beasts too, so Gao Jiang definitely won't appraise them for us. It's for this reason that I invited Master Liao. Let's leave the appraisal of the family's purchase to Master Liao. Zukin was infuriated, but after suffering a loss earlier, he had learned his lesson. Even if he was disgusted, he wouldn't show it. However, he could still retaliate in another way. May I know if Master Liao is an official beast appraiser? Zukin asked. This? Zhu Tianli hesitated for a moment as he looked at Master Liao. He only knew that Master Liao was a hermit expert who was rumored to be miraculous in certain circles. But whether or not he was an official beast appraiser, Zhu Can had no idea. Master Liao took the initiative and said, although I'm not an official beast appraiser, I've been appraising and treating beasts for more than 40 years. No one has ever dared to question my skills. As for my qualifications as an official beast appraiser, it's just a title. Even Wang Ji of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association was only an insignificant apprentice when I appraised beasts back then. Young man, don't always think too highly of this so-called certification. Why would a true expert care about a title like that? With one sentence, Master Liao displayed his seniority and arrogance as he lectured Zhu Can gritted his teeth in anger. He knew that he had to stand his ground. Otherwise, if his purchasing rights were taken away, his father would surely blame him. He could only pin all his hopes on Lin Jin now. Zukin was very confident in Lin Jin. Second uncle, it was my father's idea to invite Appraiser Lin here. What's more, Appraiser Lin has already passed the Rank 2 Beast Appraiser's examination. It's better if Appraiser Lin appraises our beasts instead. Zukin refused to back down. You can have your manners, but don't even think about using your seniority to bully others. Both Zhu Tianli and Master Liao were taken aback when they heard this. A Rank 2 Beast Appraiser was a big deal. After all, the current chief of Maple City's Beast Appraisal Association was a Rank 2 Beast Appraiser. However, neither Zhu Tianli nor Master Liao believed him because Lin Jin was too young. A Rank 2 Beast Appraiser. I'd like to see for myself. Master Liao was the first to speak.